participants, ladies and gentlemen, I observe the protocol in place. Good morning. I welcome you to this critical event of the 5th Leadership and Business Summit. I understand that some participants have flown all the way from the US, South Africa, Uganda, and many other places in the world. You are warmly welcome to Tanzania, and let me also invite you to this city of Dodoma, in which I was honored to be its mayor. The beautiful capital of Tanzania and to our nation at large. And this is indeed, as you may know, it's the land of the Kilimanjaro, it's the land of Serengeti, and it's the land of Zanzibar, to which we thank God for these endowments. Indeed, during this summit, we'll have time to learn and reflect on foundation values of leadership. This year's theme is nurturing leaders as world changers. Indeed, the world has to change, but it has to have the drivers. This one we cannot avoid. It has to be that way. The purpose of this theme is indeed to remind, equip, and urge leaders to live in an exemplary life, in integrity and in line with the value-based principles in leading at turbulent times and economic resilience, as well as business economic growth and investment. Honorable former Prime Minister, in attendance today is the 5th Leadership and Business Summit, which is also featuring the introduction of the Business Development Center in Dodoma. We clap hands to that one. In Dodoma. And before you are various national leaders, including the leadership of the network, but also the permanent secretaries, members of the parliament, judges, as I have mentioned them in my welcoming note. This summit is a hybrid of both in-person and virtual attendance. In-person attendance was by invitation only, bringing together about 400 leaders, mainly CEOs, entrepreneurs, business leaders, directors of corporations, heads of NGOs, government officials, and faith-based organizations. The virtual attendance, on the other hand, is open to all, and thousands of the leaders in Tanzania across the globe participating in a broadcast live to the TVs, the social media, etc., etc. This is an excellent turn-up, showing how our Tanzanian leaders are committed to honoring God in their leadership positions and responsibilities, seeking leadership in God's way and mercies in our journey towards progressive and developed nations. Ladies and gentlemen, while in Dodoma, you may wish to walk around, take a city tour, and enjoy the cool breeze that we have around here. So you may have to want to visit the nearby scenic points at the University, Dodoma, which is just a few kilometers from here, the Prime Minister's Hill, as well as the new government city under construction, which will also continue to thank God for that commitment of our top leadership to see Dodoma put in a world map. But also, about 120 kilometers from this point, you have the Kondoa rock paintings. These are among the remnants of the prehistoric history of elements in Africa. For those who may want to stay after the summit, you may wish to fly out to Arusha. You may wish to fly to Arusha. Geneva is good, but we have our own Arusha, which we complement to that one. Again, we can't stop to thank God for these endowments. But you'll also be able to see the Ngorongoro crater, where until fairly recently, we have had a coexistence of wildlife and human beings. But the pressures, the dynamics there are forcing the government to act otherwise and see to it that we make them obtain a decent life by relocating to this part. It may have invited worldwide outcry, but we are very firm in this one. We are trying to create decent lives for both the human lives on one hand and the wildlife on the other. Again, the Olduvai Gorge is in Tanzania, as you might have learned it in our history. This is the cradle of humankind, And all these are just 4 hours or even less from this point that we are in Dodoma. So if you may wish, Dodoma is really at the center of all these historic and touristic attractions. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, let me once again officially welcome the Business Development Center project to Dodoma, delivered by the Kingdom Leadership Network in Tanzania through her affiliate training institute. Thank you very much. The Kingdom Leadership, in partnership with Regent University through the Center of Entrepreneurship based in Virginia Beach. The Regent Center has been transforming people and nations through business since 2006. The center continues to work in Tanzania through the Kingdom Leadership Institute, seeking to improve the conditions of our disadvantaged populations in Tanzania through entrepreneurship grounded in ethical, value-based worldview. As per Center's mission and strategies, the Regent Center in Dodoma will conduct an action-based entrepreneurship program which will last for some 20 weeks, but will also organize and participate in conferences and symposia, provide support, training, direction to business organizations, produce and disseminate resources, and deliver Regent University courses. Other practical courses that will be run will include 2- and 3-day executive short courses centering on performance management for leaders. Customer cares will be among the courses. Customer care strategies for leaders, again, will feature very prominently, as well as the business model audit and key success factors, diagnostics, developing high potential business ideas, marketing and business models, finance and operations, and developing business plans. All these necessary facilities, including certified trainers and Regent curriculum, are in place. They are in place. Again, we thank God for that endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is unique because it allows businessmen and women to enter the market quickly and fully equipped. Students and business people come to the center with business ideas, and some without business ideas, but will walk out with a fully functioning business. During the 20 weeks, the entrepreneurs and business people are empowered and equipped with entrepreneurial skills as well as ethical value-based business principles. The program is also unique in that entrepreneurs and business people are equipped to understand and appreciate value-based, ethical, moral economic investment principles, and as such, impact the national economic transformation and equitable income distribution in Tanzania through business, entrepreneurship, and innovation. We have to move, but we have to have the drivers. We have to move, but we have to have the drivers. These drivers have to be nurtured. And indeed, this is the theme of this summit. I thank you for your attention.
Please give a hand of applause to the mayor. Thank you. Thank you very much, City Mayor. As we move on as per our program, we have been asked some questions with some of the people who are coming here. And some of us, maybe some of you, it's the first time to attend a business summit like this. So it's like some of you, you don't really understand what is KLNT or what is the KLI. Now, our theme, as you can see for this year, is nurturing leaders as world changes. It takes leadership to change a family. It also takes leadership to change a community. It takes leadership to change a nation. And this is why we say it takes leadership to change the world. So, in one word, we can say change is always wrapped up into leadership. You cannot separate change and leaders. In order to see a positive change, you need to have great leaders. Now, as we proceed, I want to welcome the CEO of KLT, Mr. Isaac Impadwa, to give us a deep understanding of what about all of this going on here. For those who is your first time, open your eyes to listen. Where KLT is coming from, where is right now, and where are we going? So please welcome Mr. Isaac, and let's give him a hand of applause as he comes here. Welcome, sir. Yes, thank you.
Former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania and the patron of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, and our guest of honor for this occasion, Honorable Mizengo Peter Pinda, the Deputy Minister for Investment, Industries and Trade, Honorable Exiled Kigahe, Permanent Secretaries, Member of the Parliament, City Mayor, Ambassadors, former Chief Secretary of the North Republic of Tanzania, Balozi Ombeni Sefue, the Board of Directors of the Kingdom Leadership Network of Tanzania, representative of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, Professor Marford and Jason Benedict, who is here, your eminences, bishops, pastors, and faith leaders from all denominations, business leaders, NGOs, and entrepreneurs, media, journalists, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I humbly welcome you all to our 5th historic Leadership and Business Summit, which for the first time is happening here in Dodoma. For the past 5 years, we used to do it in Dar es Salaam, and now we have moved this summit to Dodoma. Thank you all for honoring our invitation and making time to attend this summit. We all value your presence as leaders and also as future leaders of this country. At KLT, we believe nothing is more critical than leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And at the same time, we believe God is the ultimate leader. And that being said, leaders must connect to his principles to lead effectively. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2014, the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania has been successful, running various programs, interventions, and projects, each designed to promote value-based, practical leadership, integrity, moral leadership, to do with business economics growth, to do with investments, and to do with good governance. All these programs include, but not limited to, our Kingdom Leadership Institute, which is a platform for training these leaders, but also we have been organizing the Tanzania-Israel Business Investment Forum in partnership with the government of Tanzania and the government of Israel. But also, we're organizing the Tanzania-USA Business and Investment Forum, which is happening. We are launching this forum this year in November 4th and 5th in Dar es Salaam. But also, KLNT is running the Regent University Business Development Center, of which the introduction of this is happening today here in Dodoma. We're also running governance and leadership development coaching program, and this is focusing on the government officials and the politicians. We're also running economic and empowerment summit. We're also running the Tanzania National Prayer Breakfast, where we bring together national leaders, we teach them or inspire about leadership God's way, and for these leaders to pray for their nation. But also, we are coordinating the Christian Leadership Forum in partnership with the Christian associations of Pentecostal churches, the Christian Council of Tanzania, the 7 Days Adventists, and other associations. And lastly, we organize the Youth Leadership Forum, the platform in which we prepare youth for the leadership, but according to the value-based principles. But also, we are doing trainings. So that is KLNT in a nutshell. In other words, KLNT exists to prepare leaders who trust God, who are ethical. But we prepare these leaders both in mind and spirit through mentoring, spiritual guidance, and practical leadership training. Ladies and gentlemen, at KLNT, we believe the national transformation agenda can only become a reality if spearheaded by the combined effort of leaders from all the spheres of influence. This is including from the government, from the business, from all leaders from the media, education, and other spheres of influence. Almost 8 years now, our work is gathering a momentum. KLNT now has grown into one of the leading center for ethical and value-based leadership development here in Tanzania, with leaders from the government, from the business, from the politics, and other professional cycles united all together to influence the leadership and transform the leadership of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, today we at KLNT and KLI and the business fraternity in Tanzania, we are witnessing a birthing or an introduction of a business development center here in Dodoma that will not only help individuals, but also our Tanzania economy to grow. The Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, through our affiliate institute, the Kingdom Leadership Institute, in partnership with our partners from USA, the Regent University, we will be running short courses, executive short courses, for one day short course, 2 days, 1 week, and a 20 weeks practical-based entrepreneurship program. The Business Development Center of the Regent University, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most prestigious business center in the world. It is a place where everybody would like to be. I am sure most businesses and entrepreneurs would like to identify with this capacity enhancement center. This Business Development Center here in Tanzania, as earlier mentioned, is promoted by the Kingdom Leadership Institute, which exists to prepare leaders to holistically excel through moral guidance, mentoring, coaching, and practical leadership. And the core mandate of the Kingdom Leadership Institute is to develop African leaders in business, in government, and in politics, capable of transforming the national leadership and the economies through innovation, entrepreneurship, but also investment to enable world-class competition in the global market. As I mentioned earlier, the Kingdom Leadership Network is a non-governmental, a non-partisan, a non-denominational organization to nurture, mentor, and raise leaders for Tanzania and for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm concluding my remarks, the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, we are keen to tap and learn from our partners, Regent University from USA, especially from the experience in entrepreneurship. We will hear more from Jason and Professor John Mafford. They've been able to do this program in many different countries, especially Rwanda, which transformed the economy. We'll hear more from Jason. The BDC simply seeks to improve the disadvantaged population economic through entrepreneurship, grounded on moral, ethical, and value-based leadership. Their vision is to transform communities, regions, and nations, vitalized socially, political, and economically. Ladies and gentlemen, the course instructors and facilitators were required to participate in a mandatory training called trainers training, or train the trainer, which was conducted in Dar es Salaam. And the trainers, the professor from Regent University came and trained these local successful business people, entrepreneurs, business leaders, to train our local people. And at the train the trainer, the mentors, all the instructors, and all those who will be operating the project, or who are operating the project right now, practiced the delivering of the Regent courses material using specific teaching method and guidelines. It enabled them to rehearse course content delivery per the instructor lessons plans and the Regent course content. Being part of the KLI Regent Tanzania provide both the students and the instructors with a unique opportunity to impact the leadership and economic transformation of Tanzania for the present and for the future generation. It has an opportunity to influence, inspire, and impact others while also learning and growing from the experience. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm concluding my remarks, I would humbly welcome you all, especially our international guest speakers and leaders from Regent University, Jason Benedict, Dr. Jerry and Jimmy, and all who traveled all the way from USA, South Africa, to come and be part of this meeting. Thank you for listening.
All right, let's give him another hand of clap, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for an introduction about the KLNT and KLI, and about the vision and what Kingdom Leadership Network does in Tanzania. So we are now going to our key, the plenary speaker number one. Our keynote speaker is going to be Ambassador Ombeni Sifue, and he is going to be focusing on leading in turbulent times. I think this is one of the difficult area to talk about when you talk about leadership. But you need to start thinking about certain things. Are leaders born or made? You know, there's some people, they believe, leaders are just born, I cannot be a leader. So you need to ponder that. He's going to cover a lot of materials in this area. And where does the ambition to lead come from? Does it come from yourself or it come from God? And how does adversity affect the growth of a leader? Now, we are focusing on leading in turbulent times. A good example of this is actually when we go back in the Bible. A good example of this is Moses' leadership with the people of Israel where they're coming from Egypt to Canaan. The challenges as a leader Moses went through, I think there's so many lessons that we need to learn from there. But at this moment, I want to welcome Ambassador Ombeni Sifue, who is the chairman of the board of directors of Uongozi Institute. And he's the former chief secretary to the president, an ambassador and former permanent secretary representing Tanzania to the United Nations in New York. So for those who have been old enough, we know him very well. We know his wisdom when he was leading us as the CS. So please, with claps of hand and joy, please welcome Ambassador. Welcome, welcome so much.
Honorable Mizengo Kayanza Pinda, former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania and patron of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania. Deputy Minister for Investment, Industries and Trade, Honorable Exaud Kigai. Our gracious host, the Mayor of Dodoma, we are happy to be here with you. Bishops, other religious leaders, Isaac Mpatwa, Executive Chairman and founder of Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, the Board of Directors of KLN and its affiliated KLI, Professor John Mulford and Jason Benedict, representing Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, all the way from Virginia Beach, USA. Fond memories of that lovely place. Honorable business leaders, NGOs, fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely honored to join so many government, political, business, and leaders, and all of here, distinguished guests and participants, as we congregate to reflect on leadership. Leadership during these very challenging times for governments and for people. But first, let me join the Bishop who opened with a prayer. Also to thank our Creator for blessing us with life to witness this great day and this historic gathering of national leaders at this 5th Leadership and Business Summit, featuring the introduction of Regent University Business Development Center in Dodoma. This morning I will do two things. First, I will talk a little bit about the excellent work being done by KLNT, KLI. Then I will focus on what the moderator mentioned, which is leadership in turbulent times. As a preamble to that, I remember our father of the nation, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, who used to say, to lead is to show the way. I hope that after this leadership meeting, national leaders shall demonstrate to our people that we are determined to unite and lead for the common good. In defining the national question, our founding father of the nation emphasized 4 principles: growth with equity, self-reliance, national control of the economy, and leadership that is honest, just, accountable, selfless, with impeccable integrity. Such leadership was expected to value servanthood to the people. And this is the type of leadership advocated by Mwalimu Nyerere for delivering selfless services to all of Tanzania. Tanzania also has unlimited opportunities in all fields of economic endeavor, and these are God-given resources that, if exploited with His blessings, can make this country a paradise on earth. What we need is to sustainably use and manage these resources for the benefit not of a few, but of all the people of this blessed country. We should not allow a few greedy people to misuse our resources for their personal gain. And I'm pleased that KLNT KLI has put together this leadership and business summit meeting. As a God-fearing group committed to leadership development for our nation and to developing, training, and mentoring ethical, value-based leaders for Tanzania and Africa at large, we will ensure that our cooperation in action with different partners ends up with none of us losing to the other. Now, having said that, you have all heard from the previous speakers of what has already been accomplished by KLNT, KLI, and I'm glad to hear of the Regent Center for Entrepreneurship, which helps to transform people and nations through business. And now that it is in Tanzania, and continuing to supporting the agenda of KLNT, I'm extremely happy to hear that, and I'm glad to join you in this. Now let me talk about the difficult task of leadership in turbulent times. But what is turbulence? What are turbulent times? Most dictionaries talk of turbulence as a state of chaos, confusion, instability, and disorganized change. Other acronyms such as turmoil, instability, conflict, upheaval, tumult, troubles, unrest, disorder, disruption, disturbance, unpredictability, all those come to mind when we talk of these times. If then this is the definition of turbulence, does anyone, whether in Tanzania, Africa, or the world, rich and poor, have any doubt that we indeed live in turbulent times? In fact, one would be forgiven to think that the world is falling apart. Why? Threats, uncertainties of all kinds abound. Just look at what has happened in the world over the last 2-3 years. pandemic waves, such as COVID-19 and others, wars, including the ongoing one in Ukraine and elsewhere, inflation and economic headwinds like we have never seen for a very long time, climate change, and other environmental challenges, assassinations, civil uprising, political instability, governments resigning. The question is, what has leadership, or lack of it, played in the emergence of all these and more turbulences at local, national, regional, or global levels? Could any of these have been predicted? And if so, what did our leaders in government and business do to prevent or mitigate them? I raise these questions to leaders of business because of the symbiosis between governments and business. The government creates the policy, the legal and regulatory environment in which businesses succeed or fail, and how they can predict, manage, and mitigate turbulence and its effect on business. Likewise, the performance of the business sector creates economic growth, jobs, and revenues on which societies thrive and governments get what they need to create the conducive environment for business, and in the process, earn the trust of the citizenry. And of course, win elections, which is a priority for political leaders. So I will begin by highlighting three areas where political leadership and governance, nationally and globally, is key. There are many, as you know, but I mention these few to help demonstrate what I'm trying to say. The first set of issues relate to the economic space. Practically, the whole world is encountering turbulent economic headwinds, including inflation rates that have not been seen for many years, high interest rates and cost of living, and lower economic growth. I was just reading the IMF report, again emphasizing that we are still slowing in terms of economic growth across the world. Food, energy prices are soaring, and as always, it's the poor that suffer the most. Most of the blame is assigned to COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine. With good leadership, could these have been predicted? Could they have been prevented or mitigated? The answer to me is yes. COVID-19 follows in the trail of other pandemics that have afflicted humanity for centuries. Neither will it be the last. Scientists tell us that there are many potentially pandemic viruses out there, and some could be far worse than COVID-19. Disease experts also tell us that pandemic viral infections like these occur after about 100 years also. So when scientists began issuing warnings, both leaders and people should have taken heed. They didn't, and the rest is history. The question is, have we learned anything from being caught literally with our pants down like this? Your guess is as good as mine. Leadership is wanting. Another explanation given for the economic turbulence we face is the war in Ukraine. Again, the question is, could this war have been predicted? And if so, what was done to prevent it or mitigate its consequences? I've lived my life as a diplomat, and I believe nothing cannot be negotiated. So again, to me, the answer is yes. The war could have been predicted at least its consequences could have been mitigated. I think this war was both expected and unnecessary. I believe that with better leadership, this war could have been averted. Geopolitical and strategic experts like Henry Kissinger and many like him warned about this, about what was coming. Again, leaders ignored them, and the rest is history. The question is, have we learned anything? One thing to note, though, is that while these two spelled disasters for many people in the world, some in the world actually became wealthier. According to Oxfam, as the economy in many countries were crashing, 17 large corporations made excess profits of $85 billion US. Likewise, defense manufacturers live on wars. They make a fortune out of any war. And certainly, I'm sure they made money out of the war in Ukraine. This and all other wars are major business opportunities for the world's largest defense contractors. The difference is that while the pharmaceutical industries made money out of COVID-19 vaccines and related business opportunities, at least these saved many lives. While the military-industrial complex that made the billions of dollars worth of weapons made money out of the death and destruction we see. Where is the leadership that will put people's lives above unnecessary geopolitical interests and business opportunities? The second set of issues I should like to mention relate to climate change. Some years ago, there were people who claimed climate change was some kind of a hoax. I wonder what they can say now. When record-breaking heat waves are scorching Europe and the Northern Hemisphere generally, while the Southern Hemisphere is experiencing below normal temperatures, droughts and floods are becoming ever more of a common occurrence. And the impact of both is having serious impact on global and local food supplies and its social and economic implications. Did we know that climate change was coming? With all its many phases of turbulence and adverse consequences for all humanity? Of course we did. Do we know what it takes to prevent environmental degradation and climate change? Of course we do. The science is out there, and every so often we talk imperatives about it. In one UN climate conference, COP, one after another, setting global targets that are never attained. Have we done enough to attain those goals? Have we done enough to prevent or mitigate the effects of climate change, especially for the most vulnerable? Of course not. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this situation. So it's all about leadership, or lack of it. I see no serious leadership in addressing the turbulence caused by environmental damage. Even those who polluted their way to prosperity seek to avoid responsibility and end up talking imperatives, but no leadership for concrete, impactful action. Leadership is about being focused, and I see no serious focus on fighting climate change. Another UN climate change conference is around the corner. The world will converge in Egypt later this year for COP27. Repeat, COP27. 27 already. Nothing much has happened. The question is, will we see true impactful leadership this year? From what I hear, doubtful. We might end up with another round of lofty rhetoric with no serious, actionable, and measurable decisions. Leadership is about building and sustaining trust. How can trust be rebuilt between rich and poor countries? I prefer actually to use support rather than aid, even as compensation would be the right word. Historically, rich countries have emitted the most greenhouse gases. They polluted the world on their way to prosperity. Researchers from the prestigious Dartmouth College in the US have just established that the economic impact of top greenhouse gas emitters on other countries can now be calculated. According to their research findings, a small group of heavy polluters has caused trillions of dollars of economic losses due to warming caused by their emissions. The top 10 global emitters cause more than 2/3 of those losses worldwide, and developing countries have been the hardest hit. Leadership. Will we see leadership going forward? Thirdly, I want to mention leadership challenges in handling social stability issues. A significant cause of political, social, and economic turbulence is related to social instability, especially in connection with the desperation that segments of society feel. Absolute desperation, as they see themselves marginalized politically, economically, and socially. Social stability at home is threatened by, among other things, growing divisions over income, political participation, issues to do with class, race, gender, and religion, which are often exploited for political ends and affecting domestic power relationships. Especially in Africa, all election manifestos promise to address these issues. How come they still persist and continue to pose increasing threats to political, economic, and social stability? What, in concrete terms, should political leaders do? And I'm not saying they are not trying. They are trying. But it seems something more needs to be done. And we have to ask ourselves, what in concrete terms should political leaders do? And what should business do? Should business close their eyes and ears, focusing only on returns on their investments? That would not be wise, as there will be no returns in situations of social unrest and upheaval. For various reasons, deep social polarization is gaining ground in many countries across the world. And rising income inequality has slowed growth and social mobility. And that's dangerous. According to the Pew Research Center, the income gap between the top 10% and the bottom 10% of earners in the US increased by 39% between 1980 and 2018. The pattern is being repeated in middle income and emerging market economies such as China and India, with an estimated 2/3 of the global population now experiencing growing income inequality. A Credit Suisse report found that at the end of 2019, only 1% of the world's adult population, 1%, controlled over 43% of global personal wealth, whereas 54% of adults accounted for just 2%. Should I repeat that? 1% of the world's adult population controls over 43% of global personal wealth. On the other hand, 54% of adults 54% of adults accounted for only 2%. So more than half of the global population accounts for only 2% of wealth. Many of the social upheavals in the world have rising income inequality as a driver. I give these few examples of current turbulences to show how critical political and business leadership is in predicting and responding to crises and turbulences. The question then is, what type of leaders are this, both for governments as well as for business? How can we have leaders in public leadership or in business leadership who can learn from failure or crisis in a constructive and sustainable way? Is failure truly failure? Or is it an opportunity to learn and grow? I ask again, is failure truly failure? Or is it an opportunity to learn and grow? What can you redeem from failure? I will give a synopsis of what I consider essential components of leadership needed. The first, as we have discussed since this morning, is values. Values that are the anchor in periods of turbulence. When you enter periods of turbulence without values as your anchor, you have a problem. So what are these values? I'll give a few examples. One is having a sense of the high worth for all individuals, for all human beings that God created. A sense of high worth of each individual. And whenever you make decisions, whether in politics or in business, ask yourself, do these decisions advance or at least not hinder a high sense of worth for all individuals? Do you consider yourself as a leader in government, as a servant of the people? As Mwalimu Nyerere told us, whenever they make decisions, do they remember, do they have this value as their anchor, that they are servants of the people, not their masters? And likewise, in business. Another one is participatory. In your work in government or in business, are you comfortable that everyone feels that they are involved, so that there is broad ownership of decisions? How do you ensure inclusion? These are extremely important values, inclusion. How do you eliminate disenfranchisement or exclusion that triggers such civil unrest as we have seen recently in Sri Lanka, but in many other places, and there are threats of those in many other countries? Inclusion. Inclusion has to be a critical value. The other is justice, integrity, accountability in all decisions you make, in all the leadership you make. Are you comfortable when you go to sleep at night? Do you sleep peacefully, knowing that justice, integrity, accountability have been the determining factor in the decisions that you make and the actions that you take? Do you have a system as a value of healing wounds? We're human beings. And whether you like it or not, wounds will always be there in human interaction, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Do you have as a core value that I will always be healing wounds, not worsening wounds? And finally, is your general attitude, the attitude that embraces all these values. So, ladies and gentlemen, I consider values as the most critical and, unfortunately, one of the most lacking aspects of leadership in both politics and in business. Only once you are anchored in these values should you go to the next stage of setting your vision and goals. Both in government and business, where is it you want to go? To be what? To accomplish what? In the short, medium, long term. For what? Is it for selfish ends? Or for both your well-being and the well-being of others? I think these are important considerations when you set your vision and goals. Of course, you have to work on your strategy, and I'm glad we have experts on strategy. How do you get where you want to go? Do you have an objective assessment of your status, your strengths, your weaknesses, your gaps, the capacities, human and financial capital? And what are you going to do that? I can say this from my experience in government interaction with people. Sometimes people embark on things without first doing that self-assessment. Do I have what it takes to reach the kind of goals I want? If there are gaps, how do I fill them? I think that is critical. And how do you do that in an ethical way? And leadership itself, leadership has to be leadership for change. You are appointed to a position, the first thing you ask yourself, when it's time for me to go, what will people remember me for? Or are you there just running the place day to day? Leadership has to be for change and for positive transformation. Leadership is about the ability to cope with emerging and unforeseen challenges. The higher you are in leadership, the more the chance that you will have to deal with unforeseen challenges. Are you able to do that? Are you managing just for today, but for tomorrow as well? There are people, even in government, they come and say, well, I am a member of parliament for 5 years. Well, 5 years. So the time frame is 5 years. But you are not being fair to the country. The country will not go with you in 5 years. So when whatever you do, whatever leadership position you have, don't just think of today. Think of tomorrow. And think of future generations. And with government, again, there's this word politicking. That there are people that are focused on gaining and holding on to power. If you ask them for what, you may not get a clear answer. But there is something addictive about power. So it's all about gaining and hold on to power. You have seen people change constitutions and they want to rule forever. Gaining and holding power. But for what? The other thing is decision making. Again, decision making has to take into account all these factors. And the values certainly have to be at the core of your decision making. But also it's important to move. When you make decision, move from knowing to understanding to comprehending. Don't make a decision from knowing. Make a decision from comprehending. You need good intelligence so that you really know what is around there, what is coming. You have to focus on facts, not fantasies. There are a lot of decisions that are made based on fantasies, not on the facts. especially in government. People have a short time frame. They get a brilliant idea. Oh, this, we do this. But if you look at the facts, they speak something else. So facts, not fantasies. Next is risk management. We are talking about turbulence. So we are all God-fearing people, but I tell you, prayers are not enough. You cannot pray and say, look, may there not be risks in my business. Even in the Bible, there were a lot of people who had to deal with a lot of risks. So as leader, you have to know, you must know that there are risks and develop capacities to handle all kinds of risks. For risks are always there, whether in politics, in government, or in business. The other quality I think I would call it informed agility. Informed agility. Don't be agile for the sake of agile. It has to be informed. And here I would like to quote, it's not a very good example, but what he said makes sense. And this is Machiavelli. This is what he said. Machiavelli in The Prince says, the man who adapts his methods of procedure to the nature of the times will prosper. And likewise, the man who establishes his procedures out of tune with the times will come to grief. I repeat, the man who adapts his methods of procedure to the nature of the times will prosper. And likewise, the man who establishes his procedures out of tune with the times will come to grief. So I say agility is important, but it has to be informed agility. Comprehend reality. Again, comprehend reality, adjust to it, use it, change salient parts in a way that guides you towards your goals. The other thing, especially in today's world and going forward, is technology. How to use technology. Technology provides windfall of opportunities. But with technology, there are all kinds of scenarios. Some are desirable, some are disastrous, some are problematic. How do you prepare for each as you embrace technology? Some can actually cause calamities. And nuclear is one. Calamities including possibly the demise of humanity. And there are technologies that are disruptive. So you always have to be able to be agile and adaptable. And finally, one of my passionate subjects is delivery. It's delivery. It doesn't matter what you plan. If it's not delivered, it's useless. And what is not made, that will be our anchor in times of turbulence. Ethics that give us all a notion of right and wrong, a notion of fair and unfair. Then we will have earned the trust of our people, our clients, our customers, and we will have earned the right to make money in business and the right to enter and remain in political office. I thank you for your kind attention.
Okay. Tuongeze makofi. All right, thank you so much, Ambassador Sefue, for a loaded speech. All right, do we agree with that? A lot of information, and I just want quickly takeaways that I myself have got something here. You know, when he started, he quoted about a speech from the father of the nation that he used to say, to lead is to show what? A way. All right, we are good student. To lead is to show a way. And then leadership which is honesty shows value to the people. Do we remember that? Leadership which is honest shows value to the people. And then there's another takeaway here. Leadership is about building and sustaining what? Trust. Remember that? Leadership is about building and sustaining trust. You know, it's just the takeaways, you know, those key important things that the ambassador has been speaking to us. All right, there's something else here. Make decisions on facts and not what? Fantasies. Make decisions on facts. This is very important. And then another thing, move from knowing to understanding, and from understanding to what? Comprehending. Don't make decision just by knowing, all right? So all of these are very important things. All right, then there's another thing here. What is not measured is usually not done. So we have to have ways of measuring the things we want to do from the very beginning. So thank you so much, Ambassador, for your loaded. Let's just give him a hand of clap. Thank you. All right, to our next keynote speaker, we are going to have Jason Benedict. He is a strategist from the Regent Center of Entrepreneurship, and Mr. Jason is also going to introduce Professor John Mulford, who is not with us today. So please, Mr. Jason, welcome. Let's give him a hand of applause, please. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes. I think you're going to introduce him, and then we'll play the video.
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable Mr. Pinda, Mayor, Ambassador, other distinguished guests, bishops, it's an honor to be here with you today. And I would like to tell you just a little bit about the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, and then I have the pleasure of introducing a pre-recorded message by Dr. John Mulford. So the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, as you heard, is dedicated to transforming people and nations through business. You might say that we are a research center and a think tank, but I like to add to that idea of a think tank that we're also a do tank, because we want to avoid the pitfall that our dear friend the ambassador said. He said we need to avoid lofty rhetoric without meaningful action. So you might say, Jason, at a think tank, what do? Do you just sit around and think? Well, we would like to think that we do something useful as well. And so we've developed this model of a business development center. And a business development center is a way for us to promote the flourishing of nations, the flourishing of individuals, through promoting entrepreneurship based on the best ideas. And where do the best ideas come from? We believe that God has the best ideas. And so we have a training that is based on biblical principles. And so that's what we set out to do. And one of the things that we've learned, again, on this concept of, are we doing anything meaningful? Are we having any concrete impact? One of the things that we've learned is this, that if I can train hundreds of entrepreneurs, we can create thousands of jobs, and we can impact thousands of households, and we can cause thousands of communities to flourish. And so based on that, I would like to now introduce to you Dr. John Mulford, the founder and director of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. A little difficult since I can't see you, but I'm happy to be here by distance. I'm coming from Regent University in Virginia, USA. You can see a picture of one of the buildings on our campus. I joined Regent University shortly after it was founded. It was founded in 1978 with one graduate school of communication. I came as a founding faculty member in 1982, founding faculty member in the School of Business. And over the years, I've served in a number of roles at the university as a professor, as dean of the business school for 14 years, as the chief financial officer of the university for several years, and also chief investment officer, managing our $350 million endowment. But all of that to say that the university started very small, 200 or so students when I first got there, but now it has grown by applying our watchwords of excellence, innovation, and integrity, has grown to 11,000 students, and we now have both undergraduate, we started with just master's degrees, so we have undergraduate, bachelor's, master's degrees, and doctoral degrees, and now in 135 majors in 9 different schools. So our impact is being felt not only throughout the United States, but throughout the world. And I wanted to mention this just so that you would know that certified by Regent University means you're backed by a substantial school that has a worldwide impact. So that's all I'm going to say about Regent, because I want to get right into Regent Center for Entrepreneurship, which is the part that we're going to be working together with you. And our motto is transforming people and nations through business. So let's look at a little bit of our history and our goals. Regent Center for Entrepreneurship was founded in 2004. The founder of Regent University asked me to found this organization, and it's been something that's been on my heart a long time, because I recognize, having been the dean of the business school, the importance of entrepreneurs in developing an economy. And I have a personal interest in developing nations throughout the world. The idea was to be a catalyst, not to build a large organization, but to accomplish a big vision of transforming people and nations through a small staff that would help others who are working in this area. So it fits very well with what we're talking about today. In order to get started, I started meeting with people around the world, participating in global meetings, both sharing and learning from other people in several countries in Europe, Southeast Asia, Latin America, but my heart has always been with Africa. So with the idea that we wanted to share what we were learning with others, I decided to have a symposium to share best practices of SMEs, that is small to medium-sized enterprises. Invited about 25 people to come to Regent who were experts in training entrepreneurs around the world. Everyone said they had a very good program and were graduating people, but very few were seeing businesses started. And since having the businesses started was the goal, we said, well, there must be something wrong, we're missing something. And in fact, we realized that training people to start a business is not the same as seeing the business start and grow. We felt that we needed to add, not only to training, add some other things such as mentoring, coaching, consulting, to help people overcome the obstacles of starting a business. So this led to a concept of the BDC, Business Development Center. But from having the concept to actually having it start took several years of ruminating about it and trying to find an opportunity. We ended up starting in Rwanda. BDC Rwanda was our prototype. That meeting that I've just mentioned happened in 2005, and we actually started in Rwanda in 2010. So just to give you a little background on how BDC Rwanda got started, it happened through a partnership with the International Christian Chamber of Commerce, who came to us and said, we've been invited by the presidents of 4 African nations to help them with their economies. So we looked into the 4 countries. I won't mention who the other 3 were, but we ended up choosing Rwanda for a couple of reasons. One was because it was small enough that we felt that we could have an impact on the nation with even one single business development center. And secondly, Rwanda at that time and still has really focused on entrepreneurs and trying to enhance entrepreneurship in the country. We partnered not only with ICCC, but they had a strong partnership with the government of Rwanda, and so our contact point was the Rwanda Development Board. This provided us with some great momentum because they provided us with offices and a classroom and connections to a lot of people in Rwanda. So Jason Benedict and I, if you haven't met Jason yet, he's right there in your midst and you'll be hearing a lot from him. He and I co-developed the program and co-delivered it in person in Rwanda. I estimate we made about 15 trips each over the first 2.5 years or so, going there and training people and helping to get that center started. So we really got immersed in the program, and you're going to really enjoy hearing from Jason the rest of your time together. I wish I could be there as well, but Jason can do an amazing job, so you're blessed to have him. Our first cohort in Rwanda was 34 graduates, and they were a powerhouse of people. So it quickly established the credibility of the Business Development Center. That 34 graduates included quite a mix of young entrepreneurs to established people who already had businesses and were considered leaders at the time. As we worked through the program, we realized that our initial design was very strong. We were really happy at the way it worked out, but it became even stronger through 2 years of refinement as Jason and I were on the ground teaching the program. This is a picture of our first cohort of graduates holding up their certificates, and I'm going to hone in on just a few of the graduates for a particular reason. 2 of these people that were in cohort 1, Patrice, who's here leaning, and Anatole, who has the white jacket on, those 2 volunteered to help us in future cohorts. And so they were there almost every night of the program for the next 3 or 4 cohorts. And by the time they'd done that, they knew the program as well as we did, and they became the licensed directors of the program after we stopped going there full-time ourselves. Just to give you just a quick overview of the types of businesses that were started from those first couple cohorts. A lot in agriculture. I won't read them, but you can just read through the listing. Quite a few businesses in agriculture, some in real estate, and you'll notice that some of these require significant capital. So these were only done by people who were already established, or they may have had an asset such as a small guest house that they expanded. Distribution was another one that we had quite a few in, and you can see they vary quite a bit from chemicals to medical to groceries to even fish. Then not so many in manufacturing. That's an issue in Rwanda of not having a huge manufacturing base. So we had some small manufacturing efforts. And then I'll continue with training and education was a big one. And so you can see in several different areas, from schools to specific training programs. Another big one was information technology. They call it ICT there. And Rwanda is really emphasizing this, and so a lot of young people are going into it, and we had quite a few in our programs doing various things in the area of ICT. And then a huge number in the area in various services. You won't see too many that are just small retail shops. The reason for this is once people started looking into the business models, they found that there was an abundance of small shops, and really that market wasn't in as much need as some of these other areas, particularly in healthcare and some of the others. And so they went away from their first reaction of starting something that they saw plenty of to going where there was a need. I mentioned that we had emerging leaders, and this was a key to the early success of the program. We wanted to help the nation develop, and so there's a lot of poverty in Rwanda and many nations, and yet it wasn't our ability to reach out to the poorest of the poor because we're not as able to connect and communicate with them. So we appealed to people who were already somewhat successful emerging leaders who would then had a heart to help their nation economically. And you'll see that we really connected with some amazing people. This picture shows 6 people from that first cohort who were the finalists in presenting their businesses. And you'll notice they're not just out of high school. These are people in their 30s and 40s, and I'm just going to mention the 2 on the right. The farthest right, in the gray striped suit, is Fabrice. He was already a successful pharmacist for about 10 years, and in the program, he ended up developing a project of rapid diagnostic test kits for testing for diseases that could be done out in rural areas without a lot of equipment and expertise. He won the contract for HIV/AIDS testing for all of Rwanda, so that got his business launched. But a year or 2 later, when I came back and met with him, I noticed that his card had changed, his business card had changed from Rwanda Medical Supplies to Africa Medical Supplies. And he told me that he was importing equipment, not only rapid diagnostic test kits, but also medical equipment for hospitals to countries all over Africa. So a highly successful and larger business. And then the guy second from right is Ntari Karitani, and he has really been an amazing success. He was an engineer coming into the program. He developed a software program actually to help pharmacies, but his interest was really energy. That was the kind of engineering he was doing. And 2 years after he graduated, and I came back to visit, I found out he was the CEO of Rwanda's national energy company. So he said to me, I want our graduates to get involved in some bigger projects, not just small things that you can do on your own, but some big things. Well, I just learned recently that he is the managing director of the Rusumo Power Company Limited, which is a joint project between Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi, an 80 megawatt power station. So he truly has gotten involved in some big projects. And this is an example of how he would have been successful anyway, but what we were able to pour into him through the program enabled him to have a bigger vision and to be able to do some bigger things. Not only did people start businesses that were definitely for-profit businesses, but some did what we call social entrepreneurship. So 2 guys started a Dream Team Football Academy to help train up young people that lived in neighborhoods that didn't have resources to be able to do this kind of thing on their own. So they brought them together to teach them some life skills, but also to train up some of them to play professionally. They were so successful that they won a national award and a $75,000 grant from Tigo cell phone company. The woman in the middle of this picture, Matilda, had been helping at this local place connected to her church, where she was training the mothers of these young children to do various jobs like sewing. And through the program, she realized she wanted to have some businesses that could then employ the women that she was training. So she started doing that with various businesses. In addition to people who just took what we imparted into them and built a business, some actually built their own multiplications of what we were doing. So one person, he already had a ministry to street children, but he wanted to have a business to support it. So he created a wedding cake business. That's, you can see in the bottom right. It just so happened his wife was a very good baker, so they were baking wedding cakes out of their house, but it grew so large that they decided to buy this cafe that also made bagels. And the cafe was very popular. So what they did was they employed about 20 plus vulnerable women and taught them not only job skills and life skills, but also taught some of them how to start their own businesses. So they became a mini business development center. Another person, this guy right here, Patrice, who I just mentioned to you, was in cohort 1 and also is now the director of the center in Rwanda. he started up something called the School Entrepreneurship Network. He said, these things I've learned are so good that I want them to be practiced at an even younger age in the schools. So he went into high schools and started entrepreneurship clubs that grew to having 5,000 members in 16 different high schools in a few years. So multiplication was happening. Now, not only multiplication within Rwanda, but as Jason and I talked to people around the world and told them what had happened in Rwanda, they said, wow, we'd like to do that where we are. Can you do it here? Well, I told you that Jason and I had made 15 trips to Rwanda, and those were 2-week-long trips. So that was a lot of traveling, and it wasn't something that we could continue to do in other places. So we said, well, we'll help you in another country, but we can't do it ourselves. Well, that didn't really work out too well until we realized we needed something more concrete. So we developed a license package that we could provide to other countries, and so we expanded then, starting with a company that wanted to work in Uganda and Bangalore, India, then a local person in South Africa, 3 local people in Nigeria, then we expanded to Zambia, Burkina Faso, recently to Bangladesh, and now, of course, we're in Tanzania. So what are some of the lessons that we learned from Rwanda and from these existing licensed business development centers that could apply to what you're doing? Well, one of the things that we learned and we really emphasize when we're teaching entrepreneurs is that you should start small but have a big vision. Now, at first, we really emphasized the big vision, but that caused a few problems because people started with huge visions that required lots of resources which they didn't have. An example is a young man who wanted to start a fish business, and so he said, well, I need a fishing boat to fish on Lake Kivu. That's going to be several $100,000. I need a refrigerated truck to bring the fish. That's more money. And he came up with a budget of around $500,000 US. But he'd never done this business, never had a business before. So he was quite discouraged that he couldn't do it. But one of our visiting executives started talking to him and said, well, are you a fisherman? And he said, no. He said, well, don't get a boat. Just buy the fish from a fisherman. And then he said, is this market well established? He said, no. He said, well, then test it out. Don't buy a truck. Get a cooler with some ice, put the fish in that, go around and see if you can sell them. So he took a business that had a $500,000 price tag at first and took it down to having a $100 price tag. So start small, but if things work out, as I mentioned they did with Hervé with his pork processing, you can grow big, but you need to start small if you don't have resources yourself. The second thing is to prove, these are things we teach the entrepreneurs, to prove that the business works, then investment will come. This is not the typical attitude of most people who want to start a business. In fact, when you meet with the first cohort that you have in Tanzania, I can almost guarantee it will be the same as we've seen everywhere else. If you ask people, what is your biggest need? They will say money. They'll say, if you give me money, in fact, if you give me money, I won't even bother to come to the class because that's all I need is money. They don't understand that that's the last thing they need. If you give people money who don't have the skills and experience in business, they'll lose the money. So what we tell people who don't have a lot of experience in business is start very small, show that your business works, and then you'll be able to get people to invest in you. So those are two things we teach the entrepreneurs. One thing that we focus on for the Business Development Center is to target emerging leaders. So even though you may have as your goal to help the poorest people in your nation, the way to do that through a Business Development Center is to target people who are doing pretty well, but you can help them do a lot better. And if they have the right attitude toward wanting to help others, then they can help a lot more people than you could help directly. So target emerging leaders and they'll multiply the results. Another thing we found out was that visiting executives, and I'll describe them in a minute, they can provide tremendous visibility and open lots of doors. So what we did in Rwanda was we invited people that we knew who were successful executives and business people from other countries to come and share for a week or so with the people in the Business Development Center training program. But we soon learned that they brought a lot of expertise that the whole business community was interested in. So we would expose them to the business community, and they would then attract lots of top people, top government leaders, top business leaders, to come to hear what they had to say. And at the same time, we would introduce the Business Development Center. So it provided lots of good visibility for us. Another thing we learned was the importance of mentors, coaches, and consultants as we're developing the entrepreneur during the program and also after the program. People need encouragement, and they need to see examples of things that have worked so that they can have the belief that what they're doing can work. So part of the having visiting executives was to bring in people who could say, you know, I'm just like you, but here's what I've been able to accomplish. So it would give people encouragement. Then to have someone one-on-one to sit down with you and listen to your idea and help you through it and encourage you is extremely important. And at graduation, it's important to have someone to keep track and so you can be accountable to someone. Otherwise, you can be kind of worn out after completing the program and you don't actually get your business launched. But by having a coach or a mentor, that can provide some accountability. And the last thing is that the importance of lifelong and JIT, that's just-in-time learning. Because you can't learn everything in the length of time that we have for the initial program. It's a broad program that covers all aspects of business, but if you start learning a lot of detailed, sophisticated information that's not useful when you start your business, you forget it. But later on, as your business grows, you'll know that you need these things, so you need a place to come back to learn more specific topics as your business develops. And so that's something the business development centers can do as well. Now, what about BDC Tanzania, which you're just getting started? I did a little background search using the World Bank doing business in rankings. And the reason I did this was just to see what are your challenges, what's going on in your nation, since I don't know it that well. And overall, according to the latest Doing Business in rankings, Tanzania ranked 141st out of the 191 countries that they looked at in terms of ease of doing business. Now that's a challenge, but I mean that's one of the reasons why there's great opportunity as well, because if it were real easy to do business, there'd be more businesses. In terms of relatively what were the areas of strength, getting credit was one, ranked 67th out of 191. Enforcing contracts, ranked 71st, and being able to get electricity, which is key to pretty much any business, especially something in manufacturing. So these are areas that are good for getting businesses going. Relative weaknesses, it said registering property. I'm not that familiar with the property laws. I've read about how the property is owned by the government, but you can lease it for 99 years. So I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but they said it was a challenge for Tanzania. Starting a business, and this one is important because it's ranking low, 162, which generally means there's a lot of paperwork, bureaucracy, delays in order to get a business started. This is an area that Rwanda really focused on and went from being, overall, I think they were roughly the same, 140 or around there, and they are now number 38 on this ranking because they've really focused on these different areas of doing business. And one of the ones they really focused on was starting a business. They were in the top 10 at one time. I don't know where they are right now, but they have a one-stop shop to start a business at the Rwanda Development Board, and you can walk in, fill out a piece of paper, and have your business ready to go that day. And the last one, cross-border trade, I'm not sure the details of that, but it had it as a lower ranking. So what does that mean for challenges? Not just for what the business environment is, but what are the challenges for any business development center? And the first one is to identify aspiring entrepreneurs and to be able to attract the ones that you want with a strong value proposition. Because you want to find people who could do pretty well even without you, but you need to show them that working with you, you can really help them advance their aspirations to become successful entrepreneurs. So that's the key, and that they're willing to pay something for that because they recognize the value in it. Secondly, to secure enough investment to sustain you through startup, because you're unlikely to be able to attract enough people and enough resources initially before anybody knows you to be able to pay for all your bills. So you need to have some kind of investment capital to get you going. And then volunteers and paid staff with a mix of critical skills. So you need wisdom for how to run things. You need connections in the business world, perhaps with government, people with experience. And in addition, you need people with hands-on entrepreneurial skills, because you're trying to prepare people to be entrepreneurs. You need to have some people who understand what that is and can actually do it and demonstrate it. And then finally, there's a challenge to help graduates overcome all the obstacles in business. Now, even in any country, the ones where they're doing business index, they might be in the top 10 in the world, there's still challenges. Starting a business is challenging. So everyone needs to overcome obstacles. But if you're in an environment that's particularly difficult, for example, delays in starting a business, people are going to need some extra help. And that might be one where you can help them figure out how to navigate all of those things so that they aren't discouraged. Some countries, I don't know if this would be the case in Tanzania, but I've read about countries where it can take 10 years to get a business started. So you can see it's going to be hard to get businesses going if you're in that kind of situation. So what strengths have I seen just working with Isaac over these months? That KLI is already well established and well recognized, so that's a good strong base. Excuse me. That you have a very powerful group of advisors and people willing to come alongside you and and to help you in various ways. And so that's another very powerful thing to have. And you have, from what I can tell, a very strong group of prospective facilitators. That is, again, as I mentioned, key. And so there, the key is going to be to find out who among the people who are showing interest really have the time and are willing to commit to it, so that they can be the strong core group. You don't have to have a huge group. I think in Uganda they have about 5 that are in their core group and maybe a few others outside of that. So you need a strong core group. So what are the opportunities? If you're able to achieve these things and overcome, you're going to end up equipping aspiring entrepreneurs to fulfill their destinies. You're going to be able to open up the aspirations that people have, and it will be tremendously fulfilling, not just to them, but also to you to see it happen. You're going to be able to help create SMEs that are going to provide jobs and income and wealth for the families that started the businesses, their extended families, their neighborhoods, their communities, even the nation. You'll be able to increase excellence, innovation, and integrity in the business community in Tanzania, because as you help create SMEs with people that are coming out of this program that have these as their watchwords, they will start modeling them and they'll be successful. As they're successful, other people are going to ask them, how did you do that and why did you do that? And so they're going to start having influence. And hopefully, as that happens, you'll also be able to influence policies of governments and institutions to make them more favorable to SME development so that the whole nation can benefit as a result. So that's in a nutshell what business development centers are all about and what they can do for you. So thank you.
My name is Bumi Christopher Vahula. I'm a
Yes, Dr. Mulford did a great job of sharing about the BDC. Can you cue up my presentation, please, whoever's operating the PowerPoint? Yeah. So while they're doing that, you know, we started the BDC with the idea that we wanted to help entrepreneurs really succeed. Is there someone who can cue up my presentation, please? Okay, thank you. So what is success, though? What is success? You'll notice from Dr. Mulford's presentation that the kinds of businesses that we're focusing on starting through the BDC are not micro businesses. We applaud the efforts of those who are working to start micro businesses in Tanzania and across Africa, because it's a great need and it certainly is playing a role. But we feel like the purpose of the BDC is really to start small to medium enterprise that can then scale from there. because this is what some economists call the missing middle. Small to medium enterprise is the engine of economic growth. Missing middle in the sense that we have people that are starting micro enterprise, we have large businesses and multinationals and telecoms and things like that. But what about those companies that can be started that will be formal sector businesses that will create jobs and build the economy? And so that's really what we're after. I think I'd like to tell you the story of Hervé. Hervé was one of our entrepreneurs who came into the program, and he was a genocide orphan in Rwanda. And Hervé didn't really stand out that much in the program. He was a great guy, and we loved him, and we were glad that he was in the program. And he did a pretty good job, but his business plan, the presentation that he did at the end of the program was for a film company. And it had some merit, but it wasn't all that interesting. And but you know, he did what we want all our entrepreneurs to do. He learned how to recognize an opportunity and then build a business model that takes advantage of that opportunity. If you think about the BDC, you might think of it as a training-based business incubator. But it's more than that. It's more than just business training. It's more than just a conventional business incubator. We're trying to create an ecosystem where companies can thrive. And if there are different programs. There are programs out there, for example, that train people how to start a business in food science. And there are other programs that train people how to start a technology business. Or maybe other programs that train people how to start an agribusiness. Well, all of that is great. But we want to train people who are experts in this discipline of entrepreneurship, which in a nutshell is this. They are skilled at seeing opportunities that others are missing. And then once they see that opportunity, they know how to build a business model. Now, you might say, well, what about business plans? Well, yes, we want them to be able to write a business plan, but there's a world of difference between being able to write a business plan and being able to build a business. Would you agree? Right. Being able to actually execute and to build a business is a key skill, and so that is what we teach, how to recognize opportunities and then how to build a business model that will take advantage of that opportunity. So Hervé graduated from the program, and then there was a national contest for business plans. And he went and submitted his business plan for a film company. And on the way home from submitting his business plan, he thought, I don't think that's going to win. I really don't think I'm going to win with that business plan. So he went back, said, excuse me, can I have my business plan back? I want to submit a different one. And he went home and he said, well, if I wasn't a filmmaker, what else am I passionate about? And as funny as it sounds, he was passionate about sausages. He was passionate about sausage. And so he wrote a business plan to do a sausage and processed meat production company. And he wrote it very quickly, using all the skills he'd gained in the program. He went back and submitted it, and you know what happened? He won. And he received a grant for several $1,000s to launch it. I'll fast forward and tell you what has happened. Hervé started penile meat processing, and over time he has been able to gain 25% of the market for sausages, processed meats, and that kind of thing in Rwanda. So he's been a tremendous success. I asked Hervé, though, I said, Hervé, what made the biggest difference in the program to you? And this comes back around to this definition of success. If you could go to I see, it's coming here, okay. I said, Hervé, what made the biggest difference to you in the program? And he said, I was an orphan. And I had a decent job as an accountant before I entered into the program. But he said, I just never believed I could amount to anything in life. I had this fundamental belief that I would always be a failure. And he said, the thing that made the biggest difference in the program to me is I had a group of people who believed in me. A group of people who thought I could make it and who saw the value that I brought to the table. And so I was surprised because I never knew that there was a transformation taking place in the life of this young man during the program. I thought we were just treating him like everyone else in the program. We were enjoying our times together during the training. But there was a deep transformation taking place in his heart when he realized that he had a purpose in life, and he had a group of people, both his instructors as well as the other entrepreneurs in the program, who believed in him and who thought he could make it. Are we almost ready? Okay, let's use these monitors then on the side. If I can direct your attention here to the sides while he's working on that. So what are the keys to entrepreneurial success? That's what we've been talking about in the case of Hervé, and what is success? If you can go to the next slide, please. I said that a BDC is a training-based business incubator plus. And what do I mean by the plus? We've found that really, for people to really succeed in entrepreneurship, you need an environment for success. You need an ecosystem. It may surprise you to find out that one of the most successful demographics as entrepreneurs in the entire world are the children of entrepreneurs. Let me let that sink in for just a minute. One of the most successful demographics as entrepreneurs globally are the children of entrepreneurs. So what makes the children of entrepreneurs succeed at a higher rate than other people? Well, I believe it's this thing that we're describing here. They grow up immersed in an environment, in an ecosystem of business, and they pick up a lot of things through the years, connections, wisdom, and different things like that. And so when we created the BDC, we wanted to recreate some of those same factors in this program that would provide all the additional things in the context of the training that would help people succeed. And so if you can go ahead and advance a few of the things that are on here. These are some of the factors. We want them to have an ethical worldview of entrepreneurship, a values-based worldview of entrepreneurship. We want them to know that to come out of the program with a life plan, not just able to start a business, but to have a plan for their life. Now, this makes a world of difference. We want them to be proficient in seeing opportunities. I'll reiterate what I said earlier, is that our graduates are experts at seeing opportunities. So, you know, if you're trained in food science, if that sector goes down, or if there's a lot of competition in that sector, you're stuck. But if you're an expert at seeing opportunities and one industry goes down but another one's coming up, you can shift because you can see the opportunity no matter which industry it's in. We want them to be able to build the appropriate business models. We want them to be practiced at winning customers. Our graduates become excellent at persuading others. Every entrepreneur must be proficient in winning people to their vision. Isn't that true? You have to find employees and get people to join your team. You have to find investors and convince them that they should invest in you. And of course, you have to win customers. And you at evaluating results. Our dear friend, the ambassador, did a wonderful job earlier of talking about, you know, if you don't measure it, it won't get done. And so we teach our entrepreneurs to have strong skills in this area. And then strong people skills. If you're in business, you're in the people business. And then resourcefulness, leadership, and tenacity in launching their business. Do you know the importance of grit? This thing we call grit in starting a business, tenacity, it's essential. And so that's also one of the things that we train for. So I'll conclude with this slide. How does a BDC work? Well, you've heard about our training, and we have a wonderful training, I've been thrilled to see how effective it's been in the lives of our entrepreneurs. When we started this, we actually did some research into entrepreneurship programs globally because we didn't want to reinvent the wheel, right? Why would you reinvent the wheel? If there were other successful programs out there that we could just take and borrow from, we wanted to do that. But it saddened us to find out that most entrepreneurship programs globally measure success in single digits. That means on average, around 7% of the business of the entrepreneurs that go through these training programs actually start a business. We weren't satisfied with that at all. We said we have to do better, and we're so thankful that our graduates, more than 50% of our graduates, usually within a year or two, have successful going concern businesses. So we're very thankful for that. And I was looking at that picture from Rwanda, and over time, almost all of them are succeeding, and so we're thankful for that. So we start with the training, and that's what I'm talking about. This training has been very effective, but that's just the gateway. That's just the gateway. We don't say, okay, you've graduated, thank you very much, hope you do well in life. No. In a BDC, the training is just the gateway into a long-term relationship. We call it the BDC family. Again, we're trying to replicate that environment of success that we see in entrepreneurial families. So that's a long-term relationship that has various components. If you can, we have, Dr. Mulford mentioned just-in-time training, access to expertise. You know, the number one reason that businesses fail, globally, this is a stat, the number one reason businesses fail is when they ask the entrepreneur, why did you fail? They said, I lacked some know-how in some crucial area that caused my failure. So it's extremely valuable to have connections with mentors and counselors and experts, and so we bring those into the program. And we're so thrilled to have our relationship that we do with the government of Tanzania, with Kingdom Leadership Institute, because they have a wonderful network, but we also bring our network to the table to provide expertise. Connections through the relationships that the entrepreneurs make in the program, coaching, advocacy, connections with suppliers, access to global markets, all of these are part of what we do within a BDC. These are the component parts that come together. I mentioned that we have visiting entrepreneurs and visiting executives. These people come into the program and they work within the program, if you would advance it, and they provide that, but they also work outside the program and helping the BDC locally have influence and impact in the public sector and the private sector, and so we'll be bringing these experts in throughout the course of the BDC. And so this is what a BDC is in a nutshell, and for the sake of time, I'm going to conclude there. But I would like to do some shameless promotion. Is that all right? Some shameless promotion of the BDC. If you've been hearing this, and it sounds at all to you like this is something that would benefit you, or it's something that might benefit someone you know, would you do this for me? Would you begin to bring to mind the names of those people that you want to recommend to the BDC? Because we really want to make an impact here, but I believe it's going to take all of us working together. So I'd like to ask you, just on the corner of your paper, on your phone, however you'd like to record it, to think of 4 or 5 people who you can think of who would benefit from this, and then you'll receive more information from Isaac later on how the connection can be made. But again, we're here because we want to see your nation and your communities and your businesses flourish, and we would be humbled to be able to serve you in that way. Thank you so much.
All right. Again, let's clap for Mr. Jason. Thank you very much. Now, in connection with that, before I comment anything, we want to play some testimony videos from the Regent BDC Tanzania. Please, if we can all watch from our screens. Okay, I think technically we give it 2 minutes or a minute. All right, 1 minute. All right, we have 3 screens, 2 on my left here and 1 on my right. I think this one will not be used, just the 3 of them. So whichever is closer to you, they're just loading the videos there quickly. All right, if you're tired, you can stretch. We have been sitting since morning. You can stand up if you want. You don't have to. Yeah, just stretch yourself, as we're waiting for. All right, so maybe let's take, 5 minutes. We break here quickly. You stretch, and then we will continue. All right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, sawa sawa. All right, let's just speak quickly. 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we need to be back in the auditorium. We are behind time, so we want to make sure that we run fast now. Thank you.
My name is Bumi Christopher Vuhahula. I'm a student at the University of Dar es Salaam, my second year.
Okay, now if we can be back, if you are done, please, the protocol team, please, if you can encourage the people to come back in the auditorium, please. We've got 1 minute. We've got 1 minute left. So please, if we can get back here. Yeah. All right. Protocol team in the back there, please help me to encourage people to come back inside. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now we are going to play the testimony videos from the Regent BDC Tanzania. So you can, as I said, we have 3 screens. On my left, we have 2 and 1. So whichever is comfortable, you can turn to one of those TVs, the screens. Karibuni. Okay.
My name is Bumi Christopher Buhahula. I'm a student at the University of Dar es Salaam, my 2nd year, and I'm studying BCom in marketing. Funny story, when I was studying at Regent, I had no idea at all. So most of the time in class, they would give us assignments and things to do. I just didn't have anything to deal with. But as I was going on with my class, as classes went on, I got an idea within the class. And the idea is lending money to university students. So most of us need small amount of allowances to push us through as we wait for our boom or our parents' allowances to come through. So my business basically does is to lend money to university students, soft loans, and later it will become a huge microfinance. So my biggest learning is it's practicability. I've learned business on paper is different from business in the real life. And it has also trained me that business is more than what we see, more of just an idea. There's a lot of content into it on how to market it, on how to deal with its accounting and its finance. And Regent has specifically diversified everything, and we have learned it intensively. I would definitely recommend Regent to other people, basically the youth. Where the world is heading to right now, technology is growing, it's taking out jobs, and entrepreneurship is actually the right way to go to. So for parents out there, I'd just like to let you know that being in Regent University is actually a huge investment for your youth out there.
I am currently a CEO and founder of Kipaji. It's a business name but owned by BK Networks company. Actually, on this program, Regent University program through KLI, I learned a lot. Most of all, it was about finance operations, which we took deeply on accounting, because in my business, actually, I was not separating my finances and business. Actually, so after taking this course, I got to know how I should separate these actual activities. And also marketing, branding, position, that actually taught me to refine my processes and increasing new stuff, because my business have a lot of actual activities. So I came to realize that I need more staff to actually specialize on different activities. So I learned a lot through this program, because actually it was practical
I was taking it seriously because I was actually learning and applying dialectic in my business. What I came to realize is if you want to do business and you don't have entrepreneurial skills, like this we have actually acquired from Regent University, it is very difficult to excel in business. So I recommend this program to every young entrepreneur who wants to expand and scale up the business or start the business to take this course.
My name is Alice Mwiru. I am the co-founder and marketing director at Logos Tanzania Limited. It's a business that deals with events management. When I started business development course at Regent, I was clueless about how to do marketing for our business. I had no idea what the important aspect of our business was. Throughout the process of learning in class with the best teachers who are already in the industry, practically, who are already successful in the industry, it opened my eyes to understand, most importantly, marketing. It was really, it blew my mind. I learned a lot, and I could also focus on what's the most important part of our business. Recommend for you to join Regent because first is apart from getting practical downright lessons from the course, you also meet some of the best in this area, in the business that you're doing, and you will increase your network also because in the class you will find the right people that you need to partner with and also to learn from for your business success.
Samson Denya. I am currently the CEO of Entrepreneurship Limited, a software company that is based here in Dar es Salaam. I co-founded the company 6 years ago when I was still a student at the University of Dodoma, pursuing my bachelor in software engineering. And what really drove me to want to register into this course is the material that were taught by Professor Malford as well as Jason Benedict. It was a really, really relevant, core, biblical, Christian-minded entrepreneurship material that wanted me to say that I really want to be part of this. Definitely, this course has really blessed the business that I'm running currently. But even more than that, we have been able to birth a new idea, a new business idea, a new business concept that we're pursuing, that we're really pleased that all our supervisors were really excited about, something that we've already proven on the market that is needed, that is going to be an added wing to Endless Tech and to the impact that we're bringing to the communities. Something that really sets the Regent course apart is the fact that it trains you to think, to actually think like an entrepreneur. Many courses at the university, they are more theoretical based. This is very practical, but also draws out of the wisdom that you already have as well as improving on what you already know. So at the end of the process, you become a better person in terms of how you are approaching things, how you are approaching problems, how you're solving the issues that are existing in your business. And I think the fact that it starts in the mind and in the mindset is what really sets the Regent course apart.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is already noon, so good afternoon. I hope you are enjoying the program as we are progressing. And let me take this opportunity now to welcome Madam Asnetha Mpatwa. But before she comes, I want you to give you a brief biography of her. She's a member of board of directors of the Kingdom Leadership Network, a former CEO of TTC Tanzania, but she is also a retired senior advisor of International Telecommunication Union, ITU, and she is retired regional coordinator for Africa International Telecommunication Union from Geneva, Swiss. So would you please put your hands together as I welcome Madam Asnethan Petwa to come and progress with our program. Since she's the first Malikia Wanguvu to come, please, would you do better than that? Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mizengo Pinda, former Prime Minister of Tanzania and patron of KLNT, Honorable Davis Mwamfupe, the Lord and Mayor of Dodoma, Honorable Exod Silaoneka Kigahe, a Member of Parliament for Mufindi North and Deputy Minister for Industry, Trade and Investments, Honorable Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Mine today is a simple task to welcome our speaker, our next speaker, Honorable Kigahe, who I've already alluded to, is Deputy Minister for Industries, Trade and Investment, who is here to address us on behalf of the Honorable Minister for Industries, Dr. Shetu Kijaji, and Honorable Kigahe will walk us through the different areas on the business development in Tanzania. And finally, he will invite the guest of honor to the podium. Without much ado, I take this opportunity to welcome him to the podium to address this August gathering. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Madam Patwa. Honorable guest of honor, Your Excellency Mizengo Pinda, former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania and the patron of the Kingdom Leadership Network in Tanzania, Mr. Isaac Mpatwa, Executive Chairman and founder of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania and also Kingdom Leader Institute. Honorable Professor Davis Mwamfupe, the City Mayor of Dodoma. Your Excellency Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, the former Chief Secretary and the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Uongozi Institute. Honorable members of the National Assembly who are present here, permanent secretaries from the United Republic of Tanzania, judges, and the Dodoma region leadership present here. But specifically, Mr. Jason Benedict, and of course, Dr. John Mafford, who is not here, but we have already got his remarks. The representatives of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, Virginia Beach, USA. Board of Directors of the Kingdom Leadership Network in Tanzania and its affiliated Kingdom Leadership Institute. Faith leaders who are present here from different denominations, members of the business community, distinguished guest speakers and participants who are present here, members from the press, ladies and gentlemen, nawasalimia kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Thank you very much. This is our greetings. I greet you in the name of the United Republic of Tanzania as we continue doing our work every day. Thank you very much. It is my privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Minister for Investment, Industry and Trade, Dr. Ashat Kijaji, our minister who was to be here, but because of other commitment, I wish to express her sincere apologies for not being here today, but it is very important, a crucial important assignment here to convey the minister's best wishes for this very special occasion. Please allow me, first of all, to thank the Almighty God for enabling us all to be here at this very important, memorable event here in the city of Dodoma. But also, I would like to commend the organizers and the sponsors of this vital leadership and business summit for their commitment and facilitation that made this event possible. As I was introduced by Madam Mpatwa, I'm Mr. Exaudi Kigahe. I'm the member of National Assembly, but representing the Mfindi North constituency, which is in Iringa. So equally, let me also recognize the considerable and leading role played by the Regent University of Virginia Beach, USA, through its Center for Entrepreneurship, whose, in collaboration with the affiliated the Kingdom Leadership Network of Tanzania, have succeeded to organize this very important summit. We appreciate and thank you very much for this, of course, decisive devotion. Thank you very much. More important, I wish to thank you all, the participants, for setting aside some time in your busy schedule to attend this summit. I wish to thank you especially for your willingness, of course, that drove you to join us here today to share your experience and, of course, the knowledge towards facilitating the trade among people and nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I was given this opportunity just to address, but also to invite the guest of honor. Before I invite the guest of honor, of course, allow me just to share with you just a few remarks. And of course, as I said it, representing my Honorable Minister, Dr. Kijaji, we are very honored today to have the esteemed trade and leadership expert and inspirational speakers from different countries in this summit. We feel very privileged to host you, and I would like, of course, to welcome all of you to the United Republic of Tanzania, the land of Kilimanjaro, Serengeti, Ngorongoro, and Zanzibar. Of course, for the time I was talking with Mr. Jason, and he said he has been here many times and he has visited many of these places. And we hope also all of those who haven't visited these places will do as Mr. Jason has done. Specifically, I would like to invite you all to visit some of our tourist attractions around which I am sure you will never regret touring in those areas. I have no doubt that you will enjoy your stay also here in Dodoma as well in Tanzania. I would like also to assure you that we are very prepared to make sure your stay here in Tanzania is comfortable and enjoyable. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been informed that the objective of this summit is to stimulate the spirit of successful entrepreneurship based on ethical and moral values, as was very well said by Excellence Ambassador Semfue, that it is the most powerful tool to build a society based on equitable distribution of income among people through genuine business undertakings, decent job creation, legitimate entrepreneurship, and of course, justifiable innovations. As we all know that our government and the leadership of our beloved President, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the sixth President of the United Republic of Tanzania, is committed, of course, to restore the integrity and good governance through ensuring ethics in the civil service, its leadership, and the community at large. We believe that the foundations of a strong and growing economy is built on ethical leadership and integrity to the mindful people. That is why we fight corruption and all other vices in our country. The government has zero tolerance to corruption, irresponsibility, and abuse of the government offices. But also we consider very much against gender violence and other discriminatory vices. Therefore, initiatives that lead to the elimination of such unbecoming social problems are highly upheld by the government of the United Republic of Tanzania and Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the sixth phase. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the time where integrity and ethical leadership is most needed to regulate trade issues for extended social well-being, maybe more than it was in the past. Today, we are witnessing and hearing about trade rivals between individuals and nations and increasing trade disputes cases in this world. It is also common for some of our counter-national fighting we experience today are the result of lack of ethical and moral integrity among topmost leaders. Thanks to the initiative like this that makes an attempt to restore the situation through transformation trainings. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as we mark the introduction of this important project in our national capital here in Dodoma, I would like to appeal to all of you who are here to give us your moral and, of course, in kind goodwill to ensure that this project succeeds and, of course, excels. It is our sincere and, of course, my sincere hope that Regent University, through its Center for Entrepreneurship, will do everything it can in close collaboration with our ministry, the Ministry of Investment, Industry and Trade, to ensure that the intended vision becomes reality. Ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, let me once again wish to thank you, the KNT, as well as Regent University Business Development Center, for the decision to run this project in Tanzania, especially in this city of Dodoma, and pledge the support of my ministry as a responsible and mandated to formulate and monitor the implementation of policies on investment, trade, and, of course, small and medium enterprises, without forgetting the marketing issue. Of course, we have made a tremendous steps toward what Dr. John said about improving the ease of doing business in Tanzania. That is our focus, at least to raise up to the single digit within these 3 years. We hope with all we have in our policies and strategies to implement, we at least move us from that bad position, being in the position of 141 to a good position. So that is our hope. And I assure you, also, I assure the trade business community in Tanzania, also the investors who want and wish to invest in Tanzania, it is the right place to invest. Of course, we have a lot of to do, but we are really committed. Our President, Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, has said it very clearly that we want the private sector to be in the driving seat in order to realize our intention of having a competitive economy with industry, of course, for the development of people. So with this regard, I hope we will make sure that we attain that goal with the collaboration of this institute and the other stakeholders who are willing, of course, to support us, and we are ready, and we are assuring them that the government of the United Republic of Tanzania will do all the best to make sure that this is the right place for investment and doing business with integrity and ethics which are being instituted in our country, as His Excellency Ambassador Ombenson Foe, of course, said it very clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, because of the importance of this community, let me just say a few words in Swahili. I hope also, Jason, you have been here in Tanzania for many time. You must know some few words. Ndugu zangu, kwa niaba ya Waziri wa Uwekezaji, Viwanda na Biashara, kwanza nipende kushukuru sana waandaaji wa tukio hili muhimu ambalo kwa kweli sisi kama serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania tunathamini sana uwepo wenu, lakini pia kazi kubwa mnayoifanya, na hasa tunapozingatia tunapotaka kujenga nchi yenye uchumi shindani na viwanda kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya watu. Na tunaamini kabisa kwamba kazi mnayoifanya inatuletea kwanza heshima sisi kama Watanzania, kwa sababu mnaweka ile wazo au kitu cha muhimu sana katika maisha ya watu, kwa maana ya uadilifu, lakini pia kuhakikisha wanapata ile elimu kwa ajili ya kuendeleza biashara na hasa biashara ndogo. Na Mr. Jason amesema hapa kwamba tukitaka kufanya biashara, mtu usifikirie kwanza kufanya kitu kikubwa kama huna uzoefu nacho. Na hilo ndio limekuwa kosa kubwa sana kwetu wengi tunaotaka kufanya biashara bila kuwa na ujuzi au uzoefu katika biashara fulani. Kwa hiyo kupitia elimu hizi tunapata kitu cha kujifunza kwamba kwanza lazima tuwe waadilifu kwenye maisha yetu sisi wenyewe. Lakini pia ili uweze kufanikiwa lazima uwe mwadilifu kwa kazi yoyote ile unayofanya. Lakini zaidi uadilifu kwa sisi ambao tumepewa dhamana kama watumishi wa umma, kwamba tujue wajibu wetu kwanza ni uadilifu kutumikia wananchi. Halafu baada ya hapo ndio tuweze angalau kuona namna gani tunaenda tena kufanya kazi ambazo kimsingi ni kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya nchi yetu. Ndugu zangu, serikali ya awamu ya 6 chini ya rais wetu mpendwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, kama ambavyo mmesema, anataka sekta binafsi iwe ndio sekta kiongozi katika kujenga uchumi imara, uchumi shindani na viwanda kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya watu. Lakini hili litawezekana kama tutashirikiana na wadau mbalimbali, ikiwemo hawa wenzetu ambao leo hii tunafanya ili tukio muhimu kwa ajili ya kuhakikisha na sisi tunapata uzoefu kutoka sehemu mbalimbali. Lakini zaidi, ndugu zangu, kama ambavyo tumesema, sisi kama Wizara ya Uwekezaji, Viwanda na Biashara tumeanza kuboresha mifumo mbalimbali ambayo itatusaidia ili tuweke mazingira wezeshi kwa ajili ya uwekezaji lakini na kufanya biashara. Moja ya vitu vikubwa ambavyo tumeshaanza kuvifanya ni kupunguza urasimu usiokuwa wa lazima. Urasimu ni utaratibu, lakini ukiwa sio lazima unakwenda kuwa ukiritimba. Sasa ukiritimba ndio ambao utufikisha kwenye ile nafasi ya 141 ambayo si nzuri sana kimsingi katika kufanyaji biashara hapa Tanzania. Na sisi kama wizara ambayo tuna dhamana kwa ajili ya uwekezaji, viwanda na biashara, tumeshaanza kufanyia kazi hiyo. Mojawapo ni kupunguza utitiri wa taasisi ambazo si za lazima, lakini pia kuona namna gani taasisi hizi muhimu zinafanya kazi kwa pamoja. Tumeanzisha dirisha moja la elektroniki ambapo mwekezaji akiingia pale, maana yake ataweka taarifa zake zote mara moja, halafu taasisi zote zitapata taarifa kutoka pale. Badala mwekezaji kutoka kwenye taasisi moja kwenda kwenye taasisi nyingine anachukua zaidi ya mwezi au wiki na kadhalika. Tumeshasema sasa tunataka mwekezaji akija asichukue zaidi ya siku 7. Sana ni siku 3. Lakini kama kweli kuna sababu ya kuchelewa basi zisizidi siku 7. Kwa maana yake tunaamini maboresho haya ambayo sasa tumeanza kwa taasisi 7, lakini tutaweka na zingine ili wote sasa twende kwenye dirisha moja ambalo hapo mwekezaji akiingia anaweka taarifa zake zote, anapata kama ni cheti cha uwekezaji, certificate ya biashara na kadhalika, anaondoka anaanza kufanya kazi. Kwa hiyo ndio lengo la serikali ya awamu ya 6 kuhakikisha tunaweka mazingira bora. Lakini zaidi kwenye mazingira ya ufanyaji biashara tunapunguza utitiri wa kodi mbalimbali. Na nyinyi ni mashahidi, tumeshaanza kupunguza kodi hizo katika maeneo tofauti kupitia andiko letu la blueprint ambalo ni mpango mkakati wa kuboresha mazingira ya ufanyaji biashara hapa nchini. Kuna tozo na kodi ambazo si sahihi na si muhimu ambazo zilikuwa ni kikwazo kwa ufanyaji biashara. Tumeshaanza kuzifanyia kazi na nyinyi mashahidi, zaidi ya tozo na faini zaidi ya 200 na kitu mwaka huu tumezitoa, lakini zaidi tumeenda kurekebisha baadhi ya kanuni katika sheria zetu. Mojawapo ambayo tumefanya mwaka huu ambazo zimeanza mwezi wa 7 huu ni kupunguza hata baadhi za zile levies ambazo zilikuwa kutoka 5% kwenda 3%. Hii ni kuweka mazingira bora ili mfanya biashara aweze kufanya biashara zake katika mazingira ambayo ni mazuri, lakini pia aweze kuchangia uchumi wa nchi kwa mapana zaidi. Ndugu zangu, baada ya kusema hayo nilipewa nafasi. I was given the chance to invite the guest of honor so that he addresses this special event gathering of today here in Dodoma. Of course, before I invite him, I would like to once again take this opportunity to thank you, the organizers, for hosting this summit and deciding my ministry to be part of this event. Sure, I wish you a very fruitful deliberations with concrete and workable plan. As they have said, plan only doesn't make sense, but the implementation part of it. I hope also the deliberation which you make here will be implementable. With these few remarks, I would now like to invite Honorable Mzengo Pinda, the former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, of course, and in this gathering, the patron of the Kingdom Leadership Network in Tanzania. You are welcome, Your Excellency. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Waziri.
When you are the last speaker, you get into a lot of problems. So much has been said, and at times you feel maybe you might even cause a problem by confusing the audience. But I'll try my best to see that I don't confuse you. Jamani, habari za mchana. Hebu naomba hapa wale ambao tuko kwenye ujasiriamali, hebu naomba mnyooshe vidole tu nione. Okay. Big number. Okay. Friends from USA, forgive me. I will spend a few minutes to talk to these young entrepreneurs so that they see what I want to tell them. Nilikuwa naomba msamaha kidogo, nianze kwa kusema kidogo kwa Kiswahili. Na nilikuwa namwambia mpatwa, huko tuendako itabidi mtafute utaratibu wa kuwa na vitu visemeo vile. Mimi nazungumza Kiswahili, ninyi mnatafsiriwa kwa Kiingereza. Kwanza sio wengi, ili ujumbe ufike inavyotakiwa. Sababu jambo hili ni kubwa. Kubwa sana. Sasa sina hakika kama wote Kiingereza kile tumekipata vizuri, sijui. Lakini ingekuwa imezungumzwa kwa Kiswahili, mimi na hakika ujumbe ungetufikia wote kwa asilimia yote. Nimeambia mpatwa next time hapana. When you get friends from USA, Britain, wape vile vya kusikilizia. Wacha sisi tulonge kwa Kiswahili ili tuzungumze nao. Baadaye nitarudi kwenye speech ya Kiingereza, lakini kwanza tuseme Kiswahili kidogo. Mimi ni mlezi wa taasisi hii. Kizungu mnatuita patron, Na nilikubali kwa sababu nilipoangalia maudhui yao, na kwa sababu nilianza kushiriki Mzee Kaduma akiwa bado hai, na mimi tulikuwa tunaheshimiana sana, nikahisi hili jambo hili au taasisi hii ina dhamira nzuri, na mpaka leo nimeridhika kwamba indeed intention yao ni nzuri sana. Nzuri sana. Sasa leo wametuleta kwenye jambo ambalo pengine wengine mnajiuliza. Uongozi na shughuli za biashara wapi na wapi? Kwa mara chache sana watu tunafikiria hilo. Lakini nataka niwaambieni, katika mazingira tulio nayo leo, usipozungumza uongozi na biashara, utakuwa unajidanganya. Utajidanganya. Uongozi kwenye eneo hili ndio utakao kuwezesha wewe mjasiriamali kuweza kutoa mchango mkubwa sana kwa taifa letu ambalo sasa tunajigamba kwamba tumeingia kwenye uchumi kati. Mpango wa maendeleo wa miaka 5 umejikita katika ukuzaji wa sekta ya viwanda. Sasa tunaingiaje kukuza uchumi huu? Tunafanyaje kuendeleza viwanda hivi kama wajasiriamali, kama hatuna mambo ambayo ndio yatatusaidia kufanya shughuli hizo more effectively? Yani tufanye kazi hizo kwa uhakika zaidi. Kwa hiyo kinachoendelea leo hapa, takisema huko baadaye kwa Kizungu, ni kwamba katika level yako ya familia, baba, wewe ni kiongozi. Unaweza usijijue kwamba wewe ni kiongozi, lakini sisi tunajua wewe ni kiongozi. Ukiona familia inatetereka, uwe na uhakika kiongozi yule mbovu, hakujengewa misingi ya uongozi katika kukuza na kulea familia yake. Na mara nyingi wanashangaa tu. Mnakwenda kanisani, mnafunga ndoa, mnapendana, kwa maisha yenu yote, kwa shida na raha, miaka 2-3 eti wameachana. Something wrong kwenye uongozi wa kiongozi ambaye ndiye alitakiwa kutoa nini? Uongozi katika familia. Ukitoka pale, dunia hii ilivyo, utawala unasimamiwa na serikali, na katika mfumo wetu ulivyo, serikali ile inakuja kuwekwa pale, lakini inatokana na siasa. Ndio maana vyama vya siasa vipo. Kwa hiyo katika kuongoza nchi, katika kuongoza vyama, uongozi ni lazima utambulike na ujulikane kwamba una nafasi kubwa sana. Pata majuto hovyo kwenye chama, hamwendi. Pata majuto ya hovyo kwenye serikali, hamwendi. Hawana misingi ya uongozi. Madhehebu ya dini yana viongozi, tena wao wana bahati kubwa zaidi. Hawazungumzi misingi hii ya kawaida tulionayo, lakini wanaegemea na wapi? Kwa upande wa Mwenyezi Mungu, ambao sisi wengine bahati mbaya hatuko huko. Ila kama waumini tukienda tunawasikiliza. Hasa ukimsikia kiongozi wa dini anasema wewe nahubiri hapa. Wewe sikiliza mnayohubiria tu. Usiangalie ninayotenda, unasema huyu mzee mbovu huyu. Sio kiongozi tunayemtegemea kwenye dhehebu lolote la dini. In short, kila maeneo utakapogusa uongozi ni lazima. Sasa uongozi unaweza ukawa wa kuwekwa, wa kusimikwa. Kwa ndoa zetu zote ni uongozi wa kusimikwa. Kwenye biashara tunazofanya, ambayo ndio kitu kimoja wengi hatukukiona mapema. Mtu anaanza tu biashara kienyeji tu hivi kama mzee Pinda alivyoanza, anadhani biashara ni kumbe kuna misingi yake. Kuna misingi yake. Wewe mjasiriamali ambaye una kampuni, usipopata hayo maarifa ya kukuwezesha kuwa kiongozi mzuri katika eneo lako, utafeli. Utafeli kwanza, huna misingi yenyewe ya kufanya hiyo biashara, hujui. Utafeli kwa sababu utadhani unaendesha ile biashara kienyeji, kumbe unatakiwa uwe mwadilifu, ujue namna kuwapenda watu wako wanaokusaidia katika kiwanda, ujaribu kujua vile vile utafanyaje katika kuhakikisha bidhaa zako zinakwenda kulia na kushoto. Haya mambo si ya kuhisi. Ni lazima upate elimu juu ya jambo hili, ndipo unaweza kufanikiwa katika kazi yako. Kwa hiyo leo hapa kupitia taasisi yetu hii, wanachofanya ni kuona kama baada ya mazungumzo ya leo mliopo mtabadilika. Mliopo mtatamani kwenda kusikia wanaofundishwa huko wanatoka na kitu gani cha kukusaidia kufanya biashara zako, ujasiriamali wako vizuri zaidi. Na usije ukashangaa siku nyingine ukikuta na mzee Pinda naye yuma anasoma, maana naye mjasiriamali, lakini hakuanza na misingi sahihi. Sasa kama kuja kwangu mtaona kwamba nawapa tabu, maana wanafunzi wa aina yangu na wewe tabu kidogo. Hata mwalimu mwenyewe atapata shida. Tutamwomba Mama Pinda aje ashiriki ili apate ABCs zimsaidie kwenda kusimamia Pinda Farm ilivyo sahihi. Lakini mwisho kwenu wote, jambo hili unapofanya biashara, limesemwa uadilifu ni jambo la msingi sana. Uadilifu ni jambo la msingi sana. Mimi mfanya biashara mdogo, nauza asali, nauza nini. Nikupe kesi ya asali tu. Asali, biashara nzuri, it pays tena vizuri. Lakini ukiwa ni mfanyabiashara sasa ambaye unaona ili utajirike zaidi, unakwenda unachukua molasses, mabaki ya miwa, unachanganya na maji yako, unakoroga kidogo, unachanganya na asali yako, unasema nauza asali. You are a bad businessman. Wewe si mwadilifu. Lazima hilo mwenalo. Katika biashara zote yako matobotobo ambayo watu wakati mwingine mnatendi kuyatumia eti uweze kupata fedha kwa urahisi. No. Hiyo haitakiwi. Pili, tunakutegemea vile vile uchangie kidogo serikalini, ulipe kodi kidogo, ulipe ushuru unaotakiwa. Wewe ndio wa kwanza kukwepa. Halafu nasema mimi mjasiriamali mzuri bwana. Mjasiriamali wewe sio mzuri. Kwa hiyo kama alivyosema waliotangulia, iko misingi katika utendaji wa shughuli zetu za kufanya biashara ambapo lazima kila mmoja afanye nini? Aizingatie. Sasa hili najua somo hilo, hata ukija kwa mpato hapa kakupiga lecture pale wiki 2-3, bado utatoka pale kama jitu lenyewe sio mwadilifu, atasema tena ameniongezea ujanja zaidi wa kufanya maovu. Hapana, let's not do that. Ndio maana mpato na timu yake they talk about principles hizi, lakini wanakuambia kuwa na hofu ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Utakuna ogopa kufanya haya kwa sababu unajua hutendi kitu cha haki. Business is complicated. It's not as people think. Sisi ndio tumeifanya kama nyepesi kwa sababu vitu vyetu vingine vya ovyo tu hivi and you don't care. Kwa mimi matumaini yangu ni kwamba tukitoka hapa wajasiriamali wote mtabadilika, mwende mkafanya yale mazuri, lakini kwa kuzingatia misingi stahiki. Tumeelewana ndugu zangu? Sasa siku nyingine tukipata mwanya tutazungumza na viongozi wa serikali, lakini najua wapo hapa. Wao lao ni dogo sana na wanasiasa. Sisi ndio tumewaweka pale mtuongoze. Uwe mbunge, uwe diwani, uwe nini, sisi wadogo huku, sisi wafanyabiashara wadogo huku ndio tumewaweka pale mwende kutuongoza. Sasa maana yake nini kuwepo kwao hapa? Maana yake simple, kwamba mkitoka hapa lazima utoke ukisema I'm duty bound, ninalazimika kufanya juu chini kuhakikisha na wasaidia hawa wajasiriamali wangu wadogo waweze kufanya vizuri zaidi katika shughuli zao. You don't care, then you are no good. Wewe si kiongozi mzuri. You care, wewe kiongozi mzuri. Na utaona wajasiriamali wote watasema mtu mzuri sana, ametusaidia sana. Kwa kama viongozi tuna wajibu vile vile tukishiriki kwenye semina kama hii, tutoke tumeokota yale ya uwajibikaji kwa kundi hili ambao tunalisukuma liweze kufanya vizuri zaidi katika shughuli zake. Then tuta compromise vizuri. Sasa madam tupo hapa, mimi matumaini yangu ni kwamba mkitoka basi tutaondoka na hilo jukumu, tuone namna ya kuwasaidia watu wetu. Na kwa viongozi wangu wa dini, nilikwenda Marekani, nilikwenda Iowa. Wakulima wazuri sana. Kaka pale nikateka lot of trouble kujifunza mambo mengi. Wanachokisema wakubwa hawa kule kwao ndio kama mkato wa kila siku. Iowa nimekuta kuna chuo cha kilimo. Lakini ni chuo kwa ajili ya kufundisha wakulima namna ya kulima. Kulima ili afanye biashara. Kwa biashara unaifanya namna gani? Nikasema oh my God. Sisi bado tunatafuta mabwana shamba na mabibi shamba basi. Lakini kwamba sasa umefika wakati una maarifa kutosha, nenda kalime wewe mwenyewe, uzalishe vyakula. Nasema mwenzangu wewe huko siwezi. Sasa bado tuna safari ndefu. Lakini bado mimi naamini tutafika hatua hizo vizuri sana. Having said that, my brothers now, those, because I was talking Chinese, now I can go back now to the language that you understand. the Deputy Minister of Investments, Industries and Trade, Comrade Kigae, thank you so much for welcoming me to this podium. Professor Mwamfupe, with a great name, Lord Mayor of the city of Dodoma, honorable government leaders present in this room, Ambassador Mbeni Sefue, my good brother, because we worked together in State House for quite a good number of years. Executive Chairman and Founder, Comrade Mpatwa, Board of Directors of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, KLNT, Professor John Muford and Jason Benedict, representatives of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, Virginia Beach, USA, honorable business leaders present, coming from private sector in various ways, but NGOs also, but more significantly, religious leaders who are with us here in the room. Distinguished guests, speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, not forgetting the press, because I know you are going to write some good things after you come out of this place. So we are gathered here today in the name of God and the name of the United Republic of Tanzania, our beloved God-given motherland, and I thank God for blessing us to be alive to witness this most illuminating experience of attending the 5th Leadership and Business Summit here in Dodoma. And let me thank all of our guest speakers for responding positively to our country's invitation. I want to use this opportunity also to thank all the sponsors of this important event, as well as everybody who in one or the other has led to the success of today's meeting. It is also lovely to know that we have various people in this room, including people from politics, the private sector, religious leaders, a matter that shows that the NGO's outlook of how to help this country simply means you have to combine all these people together and see if you can manage to go together in order to attain our objectives. I truly feel honored to join you here in what I believe to be a most opportune moment for our country, as well as we make efforts to ensure that Tanzania is led by God-fearing, influential leaders who are ethical and value-based. That's very important words. And if they're not there, then we are obliged to produce them. Otherwise, we lead the country into the wrong direction. Our government, on the other hand, has spearheaded and demonstrated by example these efforts in restoring integrity, ethics, and value-based principles in leadership. And with this in mind, I see a precise alignment between our government's objectives or actions and the NGO's KLNT objectives in trying to produce the correct Tanzanian leaders in all facets. And for this, I say congratulations for the good work. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also aware that the purpose of the Leadership and Business Summit today, and generally all the time, is to bring together the leaders across the nation in different sectors and spheres and allow discussion of issues that confront the leadership and the nation at large with a view of coming up with some actionable resolutions. Things that will lead us into another conference, but in the meantime, be able also to enable us to take stock of the steps we have reached after the previous meeting. Tanzania has embarked upon its second 5-year development plan, 2016-17, 2020-21, with the theme, Nurturing Industrialization for Economic and Human Development, and the plan has 3 main pillars. One is the industrialization component, uchumi wa viwanda. 2, human development, maendeleo ya mwananchi. And lastly is the implementation of the plan, giving us the results that we want to obtain. A core foundation of all this to achieving this plan is ethical and value-based principles and business fundamentals within our leaders responsible for steering the resources of this nation. A core foundation to achieving this plan is ethical and value-based principles and business fundamentals within our leaders responsible for steering resources of this nation. KL&T believes that it's high time now we come with a new kind of renaissance, a transformation in the leadership, a leadership that will be able to lead our country into the correct direction. We need also a godly and ethical value-based committed leadership for our nation and the world at large. And as such, KL&T unites these leaders regardless of their denominational backgrounds or their political differences, because they all belong to Tanzania, and so we have to unite and think as one. Through its various ways and platforms, such as the Leadership and Business Summit meetings, such as the one we have today. To realize and to execute the second 5-year development plan, there lies a need to train and build a thriving marketplace, business, and social community leaders permeating all levels who are empowered and equipped with an understanding of a value-based ethical and moral, economical, and investment principles, and able to steer the economic transformation of the nation. In my humble opinion, the Leadership and Business Summit present a rare and exciting opportunity for leaders in the government, political arena, business, NGOs, and faith-based organizations to tap into the experience and the wisdom of reputable, successful, finest world-class speakers, world changers, and visionary leaders, and hear such success stories and principles to arriving at actionable resolution in line with the value-based principles in leading a turbulent, in leading at turbulent times and economic resilience that we are currently going through. So if we cannot get the correct leaders under the circumstances, tutabebwa na mawimbi. And that will be the end of it. So, honorable participants, this year's Leadership and Business Summit theme, namely, nurturing leaders as world changers. Our government believes in leading with integrity, morals, and values, without which we cannot build a solid and just nation. And when people work with integrity and value others, everyone shares in our nation's prosperity. Everyone receives due services in good time and is satisfied. Leaders who do not uphold morals and values disgrace the society. And invariably, you will attract a lot of criticisms that cut across the country, but all aiming at your government machinery, just because of the few wrong guys who are in leadership position. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the sixth phase government, under the leadership of Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, is very clear on what they want with regard to integrity, good governance, and the rule of law, as it understands that all of these are the foundation of the development of an industrial economy we want to build. I'm sure many of you will definitely have the same look on that one. The 5-year National Development Strategy, which I've referred to earlier, has also categorically underpinned good governance and the rule of law as the basis for poor economic development. Good governance provides a basis for the direction of national development. The rule of law entails compliance with laws, codes, procedures, and guidelines in the decision making. We need integrity. No tax evasion. Honest revenue collection. We need a strong public finance management and accountability. We need integrity investments and in dealing with investors. I'm pleased that KL&T has put together this leadership and business summit meeting so that we can all move with the same understanding. So I'm confident that as a God-fearing entity that is committed to fulfilling God's desires for our nation and being committed to developing, training, and mentoring ethical value-based leaders for Tanzania and Africa at large. And hence, this good tradition is kept in our country and does not die like any other short-term initiatives. But there is a caution there, depending on how we all seated here will embark on a serious support for the efforts that are being taken through this organization. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also encouraged, as I have been informed, that there are efforts to bring leadership and entrepreneurship practical programs and short courses here in Dodoma through the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship. In addition to the summit, KL&T, as an organization, tradition on various events, usually launch, pre-launch, or introduce one national level project for the economic transformation of Tanzania. This year, again, the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, through her affiliate training institute, the Kingdom Leadership Institute, in partnership with the Regent University, through its Center for Entrepreneurship, based out in Virginia Beach, introducing the Business Development Center here in Dodoma. And for this, I say asante sana. Asante sana. We hope we all take advantage of the coming of this good institution in Dodoma. Learn more so that we flourish as business people. This is an existing project which was launched in Dar es Salaam as a pilot project in 2022 called the KLI Regent Business Development Center, Tanzania. And I've been informed too that on the first day of August 2019, Kingdom Leadership Institute, KLI, signed the license agreement with the Regent University through its Center for Entrepreneurship as a licensor, and the Kingdom Leadership Institute as the licensee. On the same note, the Regent Center for Entrepreneurship through KLI conducted 2-day facilitators training workshop in Dar es Salaam from 31st July to 1st of August 2019, of which 30 trainers and 5 facilitators and project operators were certified and qualified to be the business development facilitators in Tanzania. I want to thank you very much for that achievement. And I'm also aware, after that summit on the 1st and 2nd of August 22, here in Morena Hotel, another trainers training will be conducted to add more trainers and facilitators so that we are able to run and manage as many of these trainings as we can. Let me hope that that will be done so that we produce more experts to let us know how to go about it. On November 11th, 2020, Tanzania witnessed also the Business Development Center launching, which was launched in Dar es Salaam, followed by the pilot 20-week entrepreneurship program, which kicked off on the 14th November 2020 Dar es Salaam. And I believe those are some of the young people that we witnessed. They didn't talk much, but if you meet them, you will see how much they've been able to do as a result of that program, which was to them an eye-opener. So let me hope that we'll keep on trying and trying and trying to get as many of these, and that's the best way we can produce more people who are capable, in carrying out businesses. The Regent Center for Entrepreneurship has been transforming people and nations through business since 2006. So in other words, they have a long experience. So when they come here to exchange views with us, they take into account all the experiences they've gone through. And you heard from one of my brothers here, he was talking about what took place. Was it in Rwanda? Yes. So you can see it's something good that I think we should also see what we can do in order to be able to, to benefit. They traveled all the way from USA. That's not a small sacrifice, a big sacrifice. So let's join hands together and see how we can benefit from this one. Ladies and gentlemen, our government, on the other hand, is determined to encourage an open economy. That is why I welcome the initiative to establish the Business Development Center in Dodoma and other parts of Tanzania as well. We know it would create new opportunities in trade, industry, and investments that can benefit local private business people, foreign businesses as well, and our economy as a whole. And I'm glad that the Kingdom Leadership Institute Regent Business Development Center Corporation is up and running to provide further small business support and capability building services with a focus, but not limited to the entrepreneurs developed through the program. So this Business Development Center initiative will help to build successful entrepreneurs and the business people who are empowered and equipped with entrepreneurial skills and ethical value-based business principles. The two go together. You get the skills, but also, don't forget, you are supposed to be ethical, value-based businessmen. Otherwise, utaishia kuwa mfanyabiashara kama mimi. Through this partnership, the students will learn time-tested theories, gain practical skills they can apply immediately within their workplace and explore innovative strategies, all from an ethical and global perspective. From mid-level managers to professionals in the process of launching a career in business, leaders at every level are prepared to fulfilling careers and the life-changing impacts. Top-rated graduate program offer our students training to develop the practical leadership and the management skills they need to propel their career goals. In Tanzania, most businesses are small and medium. So ideally, over 90% of the companies are actually within the group of the small and the medium. And only about 10%, that's where we're getting the big ones coming up. I don't regret, because I think through what we are now being told, if all these 90% could be turned into good business people, people who know how to handle businesses, imagine how the country will look like in the next 10, 15, 20 years. It will be a different country. And I'm sure its contribution to the economy of the country will also be big. In my humble view, this is where I think we should put more emphasis. Uchumi wa kati, middle income country, with this kind of a setup, we have a good foundation with which we can start. But we need this kind of education, we need this kind of enlightenment, so that we do what people expect us to do in order to improve the country's economy. Therefore, it's expected that we'll be able to run lifelong programs to help a business in Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, and Tanzania in general. And that will bring about changes in terms of profit, but companies will also expand, they will also grow. And I'm sure many of you will graduate from what you call yourselves wajasiriamali wadogo na kuwa wafanyabiashara wakubwa. The center will make it a priority to take care of the formal and the informal sector, because that's where our main group lies, which is fast growing in our country. Take care of the unemployed youth who want to set up income generating ventures, and bring care to producers and innovators who want to move up in the value chain by adding value to their produce and thus improve their livelihoods. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, let me cordially thank the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania for organizing this event in collaboration with the support of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship, and specifically for picking up this vital theme. A particular word of thanks to the Regent University for investing in the future of our nation through educating our youth and also other middle income owners of the companies. I believe this will definitely bring about a change in the economy of this country if we all go together. I also believe this will spearhead our joint efforts to see a Tanzania led by champions who have integrity, because that is important, who are governed by the rule of law, and are leaders showing examples in ethical and value-based principles. I pray that all leaders here, no matter you belong to which sector, you are going to be exemplary in whatever you will be embarking doing. Baada ya haya, naomba sasa niseme, nilikuwa nimepewa kazi ya kutamka kwamba basi mkutano huu sasa rasmi kabisa. Huko kwingine kote ilikuwa bado ni maandalizi tu. Sasa ndio tunaufungua rasmi. Na washukuruni sana. Oh, you clapped your hands, so you know what I was talking. I was simply telling them now that my duty, oh, that's very good. I was just concluding by saying, now I'm ready to declare this very, very, very significant meeting that we are going through now open. So from now on we can proceed na tuendelee na maji yetu vizuri. Nirejee kuwakumbusha, usianze biashara kabla hujajua misingi ya namna ya kuendesha biashara. Na mimi naamini mpatwa wale tutakao wapata pale, wataalamu wetu wale, tuwashushe sasa, tuwapeleke kwa jasiriamali wadogo, kwa makundi yao. Meya hapa na wengi sana, lakini wajue the ABCs. Hey, unajua tuna kesi nyingi sisi wa staff. Anasema mzee, naomba nisaidie hela, nataka kuanza mradi. Mradi gani? Anasema nikipata hela nitajua ni mradi gani. We can't go like that. You want me to give you money, you have not told me what's your plan, and then you say, no, the plan will come after I receive your money. Then that money is going to be wasted. And I always tell them, I'm sorry, niko hali mbaya sana na mimi, kwa hiyo pole sana. Jamani, asanteni sana kwa kutupa nafasi na siku shiriki. Thank you so much to my brothers all the way from USA for joining us, but more so for what you have told us. We'll see how best we can, value those things. Next time when you come, maybe we can also show you some few young guys and what they've done after this meeting. Thank you so much for coming.
Jamani, tumpigie tena makofi patron wetu mheshimiwa. Asante sana, asante sana. Tunashukuru sana baba. Thank you very much for your speech. Sioni kama kuna lolote la kuongeza, kwa sababu mzee amegusa kila maeneo. But there is one thing I noticed. Like after every 1 or 2 minutes, he would come back to ethical values. He has said it more than 15 times. Ethical values and principles in business. I want to tell you one thing. It's possible to do business with ethics. It's very possible. But I promise you, it's not easy. It's very difficult, but it's possible. I'm in the business world. I know what I'm talking about. So what Mzee was explaining to us, you cannot move if you don't really work on these principles. These are core. It can be very slow in the beginning, but when you build a foundation after that, you'll just soar like an eagle. So thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you very much. Let's clap again for that. All right. We're going now for a vote of thanks. And I'm going to welcome Dr. Anthony Chamugwana. And I'm just giving here his profile. It's really a high profile. Dr. Anthony Chamugwana has over 22 years of experience in banking and finance, investment and project management, and fund capital mobilization and governance gain both. He gained this experience both within the Africa continent, USA, and globally. He is a board member of the Kingdom Leadership Network, and then he has an extensive governance and board oversight gained from various board positions, served as a board chair for World Vision Tanzania for 6 years. And then he's been a board member and chair for the Audit and Finance and Risk Committee for Habitat for Humanity Tanzania for 6 years as a board of trustee for the Simusola Incarnation USA. That's great. He previously held senior positions with various banks and financial institutions and management consulting, where he worked as a director of treasury for CRDB, chief manager Tanzania, treasury for NMB Bank, as an investment manager for Merrill Lynch USA, assistant group treasury and corporate service manager for Tanzania Development Finance Corporate Limited. And now he has, in the last 14 years, he is a chief executive officer for the Intercapital Limited. Please join me to welcome Dr. Anthony Chamugwana. Welcome, Doctor.
Na wasalimu kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Former Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania and the patron of Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, Honorable Mizengo Kayanda Pinda, Deputy Minister for Investment, Industries and Trade for the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Exaud Kigahe, Permanent Secretaries, members of the Parliament, judges, and the regional leaders for Dodoma, Professor David Mamfupe, Your Lordship Mayor of Dodoma, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, the former Chief Secretary for the Government of Tanzania, and the Chairman of the Board of the Uongozi Institute, the Executive Chairman and founder of the Kingdom Leadership Network Tanzania, Mr. Isaac Mpatwa, Board of Directors of the network, and the affiliated Kingdom Leadership Institutes. Professor John Malford, I hope I got that correct, and Jason Benedict, representatives of the Regent University Center for Entrepreneurship from Virginia Beach in the United States. Your eminences and bishops that are present here, business leaders, NGO leaders, and the entrepreneurs, those that are already entrepreneurs and those that are going to be entrepreneurs, the media fraternity that is present here, distinguished guests, speakers, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols observed. My duty this afternoon is a small one, but not the simplest one. Because when everybody has spoken and we've had great leaders speaking this morning, then my duty becomes very, very difficult. It is like a duty of a stretcher pusher who's pushing the stretcher from the operating room. And the challenge is that could be the place where the patient dies. So it is my hope that I should be able to give the thanks and basically appreciate everybody that has been here today. Your Excellency, Mizengo Pinda, who's also a patron of KLN, I say thank you for your presence. You've been with us here since morning. The Lord Mayor, thank you for hosting us in your city. This is a beautiful city, and every time I'm in Dodoma, I appreciate the scenery, the cleanliness, and the quietness of this city. So we say thank you for allowing us not only to be present in your city today, but also allowing us to carry this program within the city of Dodoma. Tunasema asante kama KLN. Your Excellency, Minister of Investment and Trade, we all know yours is a busy schedule, but you put your time, we say thank you. We appreciate the efforts that the government is taking towards improving the situation of doing the business. That has always been a major challenge, and it will be a great improvement if that could be, the effort that you're taking right now could be sorted out as soon as feasibly possible. Balozi Ombeni, you put us back to the class this morning, and I've taken quite a number of notice. And we thank you for your time. Our friends from Regent University, this is summer, so basically you should have been somewhere enjoying your summer, but you took liberty to be here with us. Tunasema asante. And I think this is the word that you need to pick as you keep on coming to Tanzania. Asante meaning thank you. Everyone else who is present in this room, without any order, we at KLN tunasema asanteni sana. Your presence has been valuable, and really as we give thanks, we say thank you for your time, and we welcome you to the program. The KLN program will start here at the same place from the 20th of August, and that will take 20 weeks. And the program is done only on Saturdays to allow those that are tied up during the week to be able to participate. So we welcome you to register at the registration desk for those that will need to register. The program in Dar es Salaam will be done at the Mbezi Beach KLNT office. The information can also be given at the registration desk. Having said that, I just want to reiterate again to say thank you very much for your time, efforts, and those that have helped us to arrange this event to this moment. Tunasema asanteni sana na karibuni. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Makofi tena. All right. We have come to the end of the morning session. Now it's afternoon already. And now we are going to have a group photo for the high table plenary speakers and special groups. So I would like to ask Isaac and the whole high table, please, if we can come up. Now, ushers, please, if we can bring chairs here. I'm going to need like 6 chairs from the back there. They set up. Okay, Isaac and the high table, please, if we can come up here for a group photo. Jason and the team here, we can come and stand in the back of these chairs. Karibuni. Yeah. Karibu. Yeah. Mheshimiwa Meya. Yeah. Jason, tusimame kwa. Mheshimiwa Ambassador. Please. Yeah. Asante. Jacob, if we can move a little bit to balance at the middle. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, that's it. That's good. Okay, baada ya hapo tutaomba viongozi wengine wote wa serikali, wabunge na viongozi wote waliopo baada ya wageni wetu. Kwa hiyo waliokaa tutaendelea kubaki and then timu nyingine itakuja nyuma yao. Tafadhali. For all the government leadership MPs, if you're a government official, please after this you come stand in the back, and those who are sitting on the chair will just stay there. All right, we are done that. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The second group, please. Government leaders. If you're a government leader, please, you can come and stand in the back here. All of us. At the same time, viongozi wa dini, all religious leaders, you can wait. Just wait there. After this group, you're going to be the third group. So just get ready. Okay, all right, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, viongozi wa dini, religious leaders, all of us, please, if we can come in front. Thank you. Thank you. Or we make two groups. I think we are too many, so yeah, we make two groups. For now, yeah, some of us, we can just wait on the other corner and right here to subiri. Now, but baba kwenye tai hapa awe wa mwisho. Yeah, sisi tusubiri tu hapa. Tutafanya grupu mbili. Njoo tuku usubiri. Please, yeah. Just come stand here, sorry. Okay, I think we are done. Thank you very much. Now the second group. Sorry, yeah, something, yeah, please. You can go on the other side there. The other side. Okay, I think, do we have any other group? I think that's all for today. Okay, Secretariat yote ya KLNT, please, the team, KLNT team, all of us, please, if you can come up here, please. And all, with facilitators. Okay, and all facilitators, please. KLNT team, please. Na pia naomba kuomba radhi, nafikiri sikueleweka vizuri. Tulikuwa tumekaribisha viongozi wa serikali, lakini pia tuna wabunge ambao wapo hapa. Tafadhali, baada ya KLNT team, tunaomba wabunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wote tuweze kuja kupiga picha ya pamoja hapa na viongozi. Yeah. Asante sana. Please, waheshimiwa wabunge, karibuni sana. Waheshimiwa wabunge. Na wakati wabunge wanapiga picha hapa, tafadhali sana, kama kuna wawakilishi mbalimbali wa vyama vya siasa, pia tunaomba kwa ajili ya picha ya pamoja, kama wapo wawakilishi wa vyama vya siasa, please. Thank you. Asanteni waheshimiwa wabunge. Karibuni wawakilishi wa vyama vya siasa, please. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, wengine tunaweza tukakaa nyuma ya bega ya mwingine ili tuweze kutengeneza nani nzuri. Wafupi wanaweza wakakaa mbele. Hapo naona dada amefunikwa kabisa. Yeah, yes. All right. Okay, nafikiri zoezi la upigaji picha litakuwa limeishia hapo. Asanteni sana waheshimiwa. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Protocol and ushers, please, if you can come and help for taking the chairs back. Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone. Our session number 1 is over now. We are going for lunch. We are going for a lunch break. As you can see, we are almost behind 40 minutes. So we need to be very fast. We were supposed to start lunch at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. when it's now already 1:40. So we need to be very fast. So let's try as much as we can, at least by 2:30. By 2:30, if we can be back in the auditorium, please. Okay? All right, is that okay? Okay, thank you so much. So relax, go get some lunch, and then we come back energized. Thank you. God bless you all. All right, all of us, please, we just need to remain sitting until meza kuu watakapotoka mgeni rasmi, and then we will follow after that. We need to wait until the guest of honor has left the auditorium. Yeah. Music.
My name is Bumi Christopher Vuhahula. I'm a student at the University of Dar es Salaam, my second year, and I'm studying BCom in marketing. Funny story, when I was starting at Regent, I had no idea at all. So most of the time in class, they would give us assignments and things to do. I just didn't have anything to deal with. But as I was going on with my class, as classes went on, I got an idea within the class. And the idea is lending money to university students. Most of us need small amount of allowances to push us through as we wait for our boom